It's the fact that
but
it's
I
a
wonder if it's
living
the same.
being.
Yeah.
Sentience is the thing. Is the issue that comes into there.
I just want to say, for the sake of YouTube, the first thing said when the recording started is humans are made of meat. So,
Are you serious? That's what made it out. Okay. I want to clarify for chat. I was
no, it's okay. Don't even worry.
I responded to the
There's no
fact-
need to clarify anything.
You're
No.
Jake,
Jake asked if he could eat the mice.
Okay.
Where's the moderator powers? Mute him, Scott. Mute him.
So I got a little lazy. I didn't feel like, because we're missing one PC, I didn't feel like taking the two different Zoom and like making one the correct video and putting it in place and taking the other one and making it invisible. It's such a pain. So I may have just taken the two and squished them together. Jake, you look great though.
What did you do on Street? Let's have a look.
Oh, thank you. I see. Maybe I'll just move slightly.
What the fuck did you do?
That'll make it a little bit better. There you go, Jake. Just go. There you go, Jake. Go back in the middle now.
What the fuck?
You got to go back in the middle now and just leave your eye on one side so it looks like you have a droopy eye.
Oh. It's like
now he looks like Star.
It's a weird trippy.
It's like Star Trek makeup now. Look, he's a whole different race of people. Part of his face is 10% off. That's a whole different species.
Hey.
All right, let me fix it. Oh shit! It's made it worse.
Well done.
There we go. We can't do that to poor Jake. I got your face there. You're good now. You're good.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. All right. Well done. How are you guys? How you guys doing?
It's been a while.
Since my birthday? I know. Is this you got to cherish the years while you have them, Tesh? Do you realize I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30 now?
Oh, that sucks. I don't want to be there. I want to be there soonish, and I don't want it.
It was funny.
Hey, Blue.
Welcome, Raiders. Hey, Blue, how you doing? What's up, girl? It was funny. I was hanging.
Scary thought there, Scott.
I was hanging with my father last night, and we were talking about music. And I was like, music goes from like you grow up loving your parents' music, and then it goes from like loving your parents' music to wait, why don't I hear this? That's weird. Oh, that's why. It goes from like loving your parents' music to like having the music of your generation and you absolutely love it. Then you have the music that comes after that and you still fucking love it. Then you have the music after that and you're like, this music's pretty good. Then you have the music after that, like, this isn't really my music, but there's still some pretty good songs here. And then you're like, what the fuck is mumble rap? And my dad goes, oh, so you're almost 40. And I was like,
I'm already at the stage where some of the stuff that I hear on TikTok, I'm like, the fuck is this?
Like, how is this music? There is no creative ingenuity that goes into this. Oh, I miss the old days of emo screaming into a microphone like a goddamn squealing pig getting murdered. Like, it's like that was art. All right, I should set the stage. Get the lights going. Let me turn off these lights 1 second. Where did I click on?
Anyone have that issue where that you like prepare a drink or something for like say a movie or a D&D session? You're like, okay, this will last me the whole session. And you drink half of it in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, so green and pink, that just means that the two of you don't just relate to what I'm saying. You've already long since lived through it. That just means that the music that I find still somewhat tolerable, like Taylor Swift, not my music, but occasionally Taylor Swift puts out a song that I'm like, I don't care. I know the words because Brittany likes this music. I can sing along to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my thing, but like there are some songs that you're just like, fuck it. I'm down, you know? That just means that you hear music like that and you go, nah, bro. Nah. That's all that means. But all right. Jake, you said you don't care whether or not Neil is here this session. If we don't play, you are going to kill Shade of Tessel. So, since you are forcing us to play this session, I need you to give us a recap of what happened several weeks ago.
Actually, you know how I see it?
Yeah,
I'm
what's that?
looking out for your community and your stream.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you
I'll
are
praise Javis.
actively trying
Javis, I'll praise Javis.
to cuck them out of a week of Inclement. That's how I'm seeing it right now.
Hey, 2 weeks ago, when Neil canceled, I took that opportunity to appease my wife, and it is my God-given responsibility, despite being an atheist, to appease my wife by going to a farm with her to get a disgusting number of pumpkins and gourds. Okay, she can't be a stereotype without the help of her husband. Okay, and then last week I had to go turn the apartment. So this week I had no excuses. And all praise James. We need like a GIF. Can somebody get that image of Jake with Neil and like wipe away the backdrop so it just looks like Neil praying to Jabus in the background and make it like a GIF with a little bit of twinkly lights?
That was one of the
So I can like
best
press a
things.
button on my stream deck and make right beneath where Jake is sitting on the stream, just like an image of of that pop up with Neil just like praying to Jabus. If somebody wants to go ahead and make that for me, I 100% get it. And Blue Aether, I have to ask you a question because you are a lovely young lady yourself. This time of year where you don't experience the autumn because you live on a tropical island, do you have a disgusting number of pumpkins and gourds around your house? And when I say a disgusting number, I mean more dozens than you care to count. Do you have that? Do you walk home to corn stalks on your front step with a Starbucks in your hand to see pumpkins and gourds all over the place? And if you don't know what a gourd is, I respect you. Just to be clear.
I like how Blue was like, I'm going to lurk. Scott's like, no. I'm going to call you out.
That's fair. Poor Blue.
That's funny. It's like I'm old enough to have seen Halloween be like nothing over here to actually being something now.
It's still
That's weird.
so
Halloween
much
was-
less than
yeah.
America.
Halloween was always a thing here. Like,
Yeah, of course.
I
over
think
there.
it-
yeah.
But
Honestly,
it was
I
never
think
a thing
the reason,
here.
yeah, I think the reason why it's spread over here is simply media of America
You're welcome.
doing Halloween.
You're welcome.
100%.
Like, you love Halloween. So, I mean, I'm old enough to have gone to loving Halloween as a child, to being a mischievous Halloween as a child person, to I'm not going to do the mischievous stuff anymore. I'm just going to go to the parties that are like kind of mellow and a few people are doing drinks, to go into parties where I'm shit bombed and people are doing coke in the bathrooms, to I'm not going to allow the coke people at the parties anymore, to why am I doing parties? I'm way too old for this shit, to get the kids together. Like, I've gone through that cycle because America. Anyways, okay. Let's allow Jake to recap for us. And when I say recap, I specifically mean like mushroom cap. That should be another GIF. When it's time for a recap, you literally have like a beheaded mycen in reverse. You literally just see like a beheaded mycen, like a sword, chop off a head of a mycen, it falls off, and then it goes reverse, like.
You could totally just have the mushroom cap head that you could put on whoever is doing the current recap on the stream.
I'm gonna look for it. If Jake doesn't give us a solid recap in time, he's gonna be having a mushroom cap on his head.
I actually need help because it has been so long.
Yeah, I'm also struggling.
Do you need me to get Joey in the call for you? Is that
I'm trying to remember if the last thing we did was actually exiting the sewers. We were resting outside.
That's what I'm trying to work out. Was the alligator attack last?
No,
session?
we made it into the city because we dealt with the people, the people searching our bags on the way in, and they took a sample of the eggs from you. I remember that much. I can't remember if we did anything past that.
I don't think so. I don't even think we really went into the city. Like we made it in.
Was that the last thing we did? Was deal with those people?
I think so.
I don't recall.
We went in with our fake names.
Well, because you barely even went into the city, right?
I think we literally
describe it.
We didn't even get to describing it yet.
Yeah, because you guys legit like barely went into the.
Yeah, there we go. It was the guards at the end point. Yeah. I could summarize sewers pretty easily. It was talk to mushroom people. They told us stuff that is useful to know. That the assassin party likely left from that area, and that I may have to just constantly return to that point every couple days to search for my crystal buddy. And then
so they kind of they stole him from you and refused to give him back.
Well, they couldn't. It was one of those things where they couldn't actually give him back because they can't talk to the other. Like, if any of the main colony come up, they will ask for him to be brought, but they can't. They can't move. They're planted there.
we're taking his word for it. What if he's a liar and he just lied to us?
I mean, if they kill it, it comes back to me anyway.
No, but if they don't kill it and they just steal it, and he was just lying and saying, I can't contact them. Like, like when you say you're calling someone, but you call like voicemail and you're like, no, there's no answer. And then you just hang up the phone.
Is that a thing you do often, Jake? Is there a couple of times that you left me on a phone call to...
There's definitely a couple of times I've pretended to make phone calls because I didn't want to make them. 100%.
That's fair. They could have been, but from the nature of things, I feel like they probably weren't. I mean, they were forthcoming with the info about the people who left because they slaughtered them. Or they had mice and guts on them.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're the only ongoing campaign that hasn't killed a mushroom person.
Are we really?
Yeah, unfortunately. That is the case. So
we just turned one into a DJ.
That was a different campaign.
Well, I guess that's true.
Yeah. That's the best I can do on the fly. You are welcome.
Oh, no, let me see.
Thank you. I appreciate the hat.
Yeah, it's a legit hat. Yep. You can purchase it. I love how it like droops over the eyes too. Like you can sit there like you're cool. Like almost like
let's cap. That's good. Let's cap off this recap.
All right. So anyways, yeah. So a couple sessions ago, you guys went walking in. There was a loud shrieking noise, and you guys are like, Neil, it's okay. It's just dirt under your fingernails. You'll get through it. And then all of a sudden there were mushrooms. You guys went walking along. You got attacked by the carrion crawler. You ran away. Cliffhanger. Came back, slaughtered its friend. And then talked to the mushrooms, gave you the news. It went running off. You found the way that you could go, said, and then went back into the city where, again, you've barely even described what the city looks like. You haven't even done anything up there yet. Cool.
We got past the border control. That's it.
Yeah, you just went past the border control as you were just saying. Cool. Let's kind of pick it up with Rennet Slav. The one thing that we're going to have to do here, because Neil is not with us. So it's one of those things where Neil's, as you guys are heading up to border control and kind of getting through, Neil's going to make a suggestion. Let me put on my best Neil voice. All right, Governor. All right. So I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking.
Don't know what I expected.
Perhaps.
Pretty good impression. Keep going.
Perhaps, then, Governor. We got to keep an eye out down in there at the sewers.
It hurts.
Governor, if we don't keep an eye out in the sewers, what if something comes in or something comes back out, right? They always come back to see in the crowd. Let me tell you about Jack the Ripper. All right, Jack the Ripper would always come back down. So anyways, he offers to hang out down by the camp with Carrick, rather than putting Carrick in a stable or whatever it is for now, to actually go back down to the camp that you guys originally saw that caused your suspicions to lead you into the tunnel in the first place. So he'll actually stay down there and keep an eye on things for a little while, see if anything suspicious happens or pops up, or if maybe he can interact with the mice in just a smidge more. Understand?
I want to hear more about Jack the Ripper.
Good old Jack the Ripper is a boyfriend I had back in the day. No, I got his name, eh?
Yeah, this is happening. Poor Viking just came in for this. Like just so. Oh no, wait, no. I think Viking was saying hello. No, Viking's been here for a while. Never mind. I thought that was Viking coming in.
It's actually Dean the Nipper. If you don't get that reference, you live a blessed life there, Green. But Dean the Nipper. All right, so
just thinking.
All right, so let's you guys are inside the city. Inside Renetslav is what it's called. So you're inside Renetslav, you got through security, so on and so forth, to get into the city. And this is where you want to start doing your look about, you walk about, trying to check out some fun little details. What's your name? Tash. Did I have you?
What?
No. Okay. So once you guys are immediately inside the city, where is it that the two of you are going to want to go to? Obviously, you give the authority and appreciate Tristan for always having the best of ideas, and and you send him on his way. If you want, instead of getting mad at Neil for not being here, we can do one of these.
Oh God, what's he doing on stream?
Hold on. Not that. Not that. Not that. Why can't I find it?
I was gonna say while he's figuring this out, I'm pretty sure we had a idea of checking the records to get the layout of the sewers. We wanted a map of the sewers to see where the entrance
right.
and exits.
It is exactly what you're looking for. Thank you, sir. I can't find it. Oh well. I was gonna be funny and put Tesh's character's name up there and be like, get mad at not Tesh, sorry. Cell. Get mad and Cell instead. But, but I can't find it. Oh well. So
the bit died.
So you guys want to make your way over to find those kind of records. So you are technically in Paradel, even if it is not too long ago converted lands from being
You'll get there eventually. Now, did I do this the right way around?
Yuvans.
Yes.
If not being Yuvans. If not being lands that converted not too long ago from Yuvans to Juvencia, which is Paradel. Because that conversion probably happened in the last 10 years. And neither of your characters grew up in Yuvans, so you're not particularly familiar with the architecture and whatnot that they have here, the layouts and whatnot. However, you do know, to a degree, Jake, not Tesh, what kind of buildings they would want to use to kind of convert over to this sort of a thing. Either A, they're going to use the previous buildings because they were structured well enough and designed well enough that it's like, well, why move all this shit? It's here, let's just keep it. Or B, what they'll do is they'll be like, nah, that's stupid. we're not going to use that. We're going to centralize all information out of this building because it's better secured. We can design it slightly differently in a bit more design format. And Jake, you of course would already know with your very high history ability, with your knowledge and whatnot, your strong education, that in the old days, Paradel didn't always keep all the information. There was a long time there where they would just walk into places, centuries ago, and just burn it down and rewrite history. Now they don't do that anymore. They're not monsters that destroy history as they go along. Instead, they handpick bits of history and destroy that and keep the rest of it. That way they don't have to recollect the data. So, but that's
it was, Valorant's whole thing was disliking that.
Yep. And they don't do that anymore because of Valorant's actions. A lot of that kind of stuff that they did, that's changed. I mean, because if you think about it, the gods' sway over what makes Perrin, and the fact that they didn't have true autonomy, the fact that they do now, was a huge impact of season 1 and season 3, I think, of Kingmaker. But continuing with this, what I need from you, Jake, is an architectural and engineering check to it might just say engineering on your character sheet, to figure out what it is that they're doing. And Tesh, I think were trying to say something, but I kept steamrolling over you.
Whatever it was, it's gone.
Success. I'm the best. So Bostonian.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, that looks like Monday night all over again.
I have forgotten.
Oh.
But we can't forget any longer. We have 2 level 5 hype trains.
Oh,
So
shit, yeah. We have to vote.
Have to do that today.
Okay. Also, can I ask a favor of the two of you, just since we're tangenting from meta stuff? I've been getting a lot of chatter lately, and I mean Joey, about what it is that Patreon is going to do to affect the campaign. There's been a lot of chatter, by that I mean Joey, from Patreon community of what it is that's going to affect you guys. What has been rolled around as an idea is to give to you what was supposed to be to Regicide, but you guys aren't failures at life. So what Regicide was originally supposed to have is, instead of, like, you remember in Kingmaker, how you had full stat blocked out advisors that had these awesome abilities and whatnot that added statistical effects to the game, so on and so forth, is instead they would design basic concepts. So one of the ideas I like to use as an example is Anno. Never asked once, so checks out. Yeah, exactly, Anno. Let's say Anno is like, I want to make for my Inclime character, advisor, if you will. I want to make a lovely a young lady named, I don't know, Winnie. And Winnie's actually a florist. She's a florist out of, is it McGlynn? I think is the name of the city you guys always go to. She's a florist out of McGlynn. She's a lovely young lady. She occasionally gets a little bit flirty with Tristan. You know what I mean? But overall, she's just a florist that happens to exist down that way. Tristan has affinity towards flowers, so often he'll go by there and buy a couple flowers that remind him of his mother, because he's a mama's boy with a little bit of an Oedipus complex. So he swings by there and they get along, and eventually blooms a relationship where he often will use her for little bits of information. But eventually he accidentally stumbles across the fact that one time stumbling through there, Viggo realizes she grows a rare herb that's known that if you collect enough of its pollen, it can make kind of a vicious poison. And you guys discover
she's a flyweed dealer. I get it.
She can actually be a bit of an access to rare types of poisons that are otherwise considered illegal in Paradel. But she gets away with it because she keeps it in very diluted forms, but can concentrate it if need be, because she's a contact of yours. So as opposed to advisor, it's a contact that you have. She's a non-statted out character. It's a name, a personality, and a relationship with a ability that they have to offer. This ability is access to poisons that are otherwise illegal. You still pay for them, but at market value, and relatively easy to get your hands on, as opposed to making a bunch of die checks to try to find this and maybe getting caught by the cops. And they're like, I'm going to take you into downtown, say, like you could actually be okay with it. Another example would be a character that happens to hang around in speakeasies and knows the information from thieves guilds, this kind of thing. Is that something that you guys would like the idea of, with a list of names that you've accrued over time, and actually utilize, or are you going to assume that they're all out to get you and start trying to kill them?
I like the idea. Definitely won't be trying to kill them.
It's hard to say. In terms of like, it's hard to tell when Scott's being trustworthy, and as such, it's hard to tell when NPCs are trustworthy a lot of the time.
You're not wrong.
No idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. And so just one final example. Hey, Jake, you have a childhood friend that the two of you continue to pen pal back and forth using secret names. So, you probably go by like PB, and they go by JY, because you guys are so close. You're like peanut butter and jelly.
I would have used KY.
The only issue I'd sort of
power
have
bottoming
with
than
it
KY.
is,
All right, that's what you prefer. Yeah, it's cool, Jake. Either way, so either way. So in that situation, you have somebody who's maybe stationed in a different province who can provide information about that province. But you were saying something, Tesh?
yeah, the only thing I'd be worried about is the parts you put in that would be inserting into our characters, just whether
Sorry, what did you
things
say?
would fit.
Do you need KY for that?
You know what I fucking mean. God damn it.
Continue.
Like you said there, the adding a relationship sort of thing, it could work, but it also would need to like involve us rather than just tacking on a previous relationship with a character that we didn't have any say on, sort of thing.
Some of them would be relationships that would be kind of like, oh, this is somebody you know from the background, so you have like intrinsic trust to them. Some of them would be my introducing them, depending on what it is that the patron kind of introduces to the game. So it's just
could you even have like, say, a member of the Dwins team that just like literally leads us in the direction of someone?
Yeah,
it's like I've found that this person might be useful to what you do, sort of thing.
Yep, absolutely. So that there are 110 different ways that will make it so that these characters are introduced to your campaign in a way that they are trustworthy. Now, to be clear, all of the ones who are regicide were introduced in trustworthy ways. But regicide be regicide.
It reminds me of when Elliot was introduced.
I missed that session. I wasn't there for that.
Did you?
And it's been brought up so many times.
If you were there, he probably wouldn't have gotten knocked in the noggin. Either that, or you at least would have given Neil's character a stern looking to.
Yes, very much so.
All right, so back to the game. You rolled a natty 20, which means nothing because you guys are wimps. But with a 31 total.
I rolled a 31.
Yeah. With a 31 total, and actually spending some time with your lore gem, a 33 total, you're easily able to walk around and find a building that you're like, this is most likely what we're looking for. This is most likely the building that you need to get into. But with that same understanding of this is what that's looking into, I need from you, Jake, this is going to be a, because every province has slightly different laws, right? So if you want to go ahead and roll for me a knowledge local check, but you have a penalty because you're not from Paradel. It's actually one of those things where I kind of want to take the skill knowledge local and turn it into, if one of you guys want to remember me what they're called, but it's not knowledge skills, they're called like lore skills. we talked about them recently when I was making a Patreon character for the Adir. But that way each area has its own knowledge local check. But you want to go ahead and roll me a knowledge local, and I'll change the DC accordingly.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Doesn't matter. You flipping crush it. You absolutely crush it. So
I saw that one coming out. I was worried.
One of the things that Paradel prides itself on is showing its stark differences from the regions that they're adjacent to, right? The regions that they're taking over. This is a very important detail. It's let me know if the music's too loud, by the way. It's one of the things that makes Paradel so incredibly successful as they're overtaking somebody's land. Because people could be sitting there and be like, this is our land, get off of it. Or they're like, but that's pretty badass over there. And then they like sneak to the other side, change their tunic, and they look back, they're like, this is our land, get off of it, you know? So one of the things that is a stark difference between Jovincia and Jovance is that in Jovance, they are very, very, very secretive of knowledge, because knowledge is in fact power. People use knowledge to rise up against their oppressors, to develop new, higher ideologies, and so on and so forth. So you got to keep the slaves down. You got to keep their knowledge down. You got to keep their communication down. So what you do in Jovincia is they provide free knowledge for everyone, but at the same time, you don't want it to be completely free for everyone. So for you to actually be able to go into a place which would be effectively a public library, which don't exist in Jovincia. Those exist in places like Bard and the one south of Bard, whose name escapes me right now. It's west of Dween and south of Bard.
South of Bard is...
Yes,
yep, is Sahara.
Sahara, thank you. So that's where you're going to find things like public libraries. Here, what it is you actually have to apply for a permit, kind of like getting a library card, wherein you can actually pay small fees to consistently be able to access that. But these fees are actually pretty darn small. So applying for the thing has a bit of a wait time to it. It takes about a week, but with a little bit of rubbing of coin, you can make it go by a little bit quicker. And then each time you want to go into there, it has a several copper piece fee to go in and utilize things and leave. So again, it's a tax to be able to use the information to maintain the buildings and whatnot, but not crushing to the point where it's like, the Chosen are running Valoran, and they need to make sure that they can keep their armies going so they can overtake their political influence of the other city-states around them, because, good and godly. So the Jake, you would even know where it is that you can go and fill out that paperwork. And if you wanted to, the right way to try to slide the paperwork to go through a little bit quicker, it just would require a degree of diplomacy to do so. Tesh, you're going to say something.
I was just going to say, check Discord real quick while we continue.
Sure.
Yeah, I would definitely try. Obviously trying do a little bit of gold to expedite things.
Ooh. Sorry.
Ooh. I loved that. That was his reaction. You've got all the gold, right? How much gold do we have left?
A bit.
A bit.
Cool.
He says a bit.
Yeah.
It's like 2,000.
Yeah,
A
we have
bit.
It is not 2,000.
His character grew up disgustingly wealthy. He's like,
It's
listen,
860.
he's like, we have like 10,000 gold. We need to start being a little conservative, guys. It's like, that's like $1 million. It's like $1 million. All right. Done with Discord. So, back to you boys. Would you want to go and try to slide coin the right way? Toss a diplomacy check to see if you can get things going. You don't have Tristan's, sultry eyes and whatnot to give that. Jake is frozen in the camera stare to convince them that they are want to do this for you. But since Jake is most likely not here at the moment because his camera looks frozen, Tish, do you want to go and try to pull that off?
Oh my god, he is actually frozen. Wait, no, hold up. What am I trying to pull off? Because he was the one doing the talking, so I wasn't totally attention. Oh, there he goes. Uh-oh. Okay. So how much gold is it normally to do this? Just so we can work this out while he's hopefully coming back.
I mean, how much gold would it cost? It's one of those things where, because he knows how to slide. So just filling out the paperwork itself has a small fee. That small fee would be of 15 silver a person, which, by the way, it's not incredibly small, but it is something that most people would be able to afford if they wanted to, right? You just have to
the sort of people that would want to be going to
the
library anyway. Yeah,
correct, because that's a gold and a half, right? But that being said, if you wanted to, slide 15 gold pieces with a diplomacy check, you could have that paperwork kind of filed through pretty darn quickly.
Yes, Jake. If you would like to do 15 gold with a diplomacy check, so I don't have to do the diplomacy check with my +0.
What?
We figured out that it's normally 15 silver per person with the paperwork, but if we were to slide, say, 15 gold with it and a diplomacy check, we may be able to get it sped through.
Done instead of in a week or so, done in like a day.
Yeah, let's try that. All right, so diplomacy.
So more or less, when you go in,
I can try and help because I have +0.
15 gold a person. Because you don't have Tristan with you at the moment, because Tristan, I think, is illiterate anyways, you don't really have to worry about him too much. So you're just going to do it for the two of you. You're going to have to present here your paperwork that you are, you're not parent, are you? You're Yovan's merchants?
And mercenary.
I don't know what our paperwork exactly says, but I was saying I was from.
You were from Tasty and Tail. You were a merchant, I think.
Yeah,
no,
just papers for.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
No,
correct.
Yeah.
But you can still be Paradel without showing your rank and everything that you have. You could actually show your legitimate I am Perrin without being like I am. What's what I'm looking for? I am this rank of this military. Whereas Tesha's real paperwork says that he is Inclime, meaning that, actually he doesn't need that. My apologies, you're Perrin born. So you can walk into Paradel and immediately be a Benel. So you actually are a citizen.
Cool.
Yeah, that's right. So you
I
guys
guess they
can present your real
probably
paperwork.
would have done that to my paperwork, the bandit paperwork, when I came in, right?
Mm-hmm. No, because you literally just walked in. You'd have to go through the offices to apply for that.
Oh, you have to go and apply. Okay.
Yeah. But you can have your real stuff where you're Viggo and Gallon. So Jake, are you using Viggo and Gallon? Are you using Mutton Chops and Razor? I don't remember what your real names are.
Bandit and Magpie.
I think we should use the other one because that's the one we used when we came through the gate.
I added this by accident. I'm clicking this button just to get rid of what I added by accident. Okay.
Oh, I feel like as much as right now we still want to be going under the radar in the sense that we don't want to leave a trail of a paper trail sort of thing. Whereas it would be easier for us if we did go as us. I imagine we'd be able to get it through quicker and easier, but I don't see much of a difference if we keep our current paperwork names for now until we need to reveal that we are in fact working. We are in the paramilitary sort of thing. So
one of the young guards comes up and like pulls off your mask and you're like, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you,
Pardon me. I'm all mean that if
apparently not a funny
if anyone is checking the records, I mean, I get it's not that big of a deal, but I think either way, it's not that big of a deal here. It might be more in different areas.
Almost public knowledge. Do you know what I mean? It's not restricted stuff. So I think we should continue with the ones that we came in here with.
Yeah, I actually
Unless
to
you-
note,
unless you
it's
think
also
we
probably
should-
very easy to
Yeah.
find the records of who's been in and out of this place. So we probably want to keep the fake names because people who are not with Paradel might be able to figure out who's been in and out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. Well. Yeah, we'll keep our current names.
Bandit and Magpie.
Yeah, Mag. So funny. All right, cool. So
I just love the idea of a mercenary, like a dumb mercenary, being like, "What's a cool name?" Bandit. I'll go by Bandit from now on.
oh, Magpie. Because I pack that mag and really like pie. So
I would have went with like shiny things, but
Yeah, actually, yeah.
then I'm Ferret. I weasel my way in and out of situations. A ferret and a weasel aren't the same thing. Oh, you motherfucker. All right, so let's keep going. I don't think that's how you do that. So anyways, you guys are going to walk into the place. Jake, what I need from you is as you're going in to handle the situation, you got to go ahead and roll me a diplomacy check. This is to convince them
Can I give him
to
an
process quicker.
assist? Can I try and assist with like just a flat diplomacy roll because I'm +0? Since
I
I'm
mean,
with him.
you absolutely can, but because you are out of towners trying to do this, failure does mean that you can negatively impact him.
Then in fact I won't do that, and I'll just let him do it.
That's fine. Jake?
all right. Give me a second.
I'm waiting.
All right. Well. Oh,
What do we got there? Diplomacy 21.
Not bad.
How are you feeling about your diplomacy of 21?
I think a diplomacy 21 is actually pretty decent.
For what this is, I imagine this is not the most uncommon thing. I think this is probably fine. Especially given that the coronation's happening, and there's probably lots of out of town people that want access to libraries.
That sounds like a lot of people that are looking at access to murderizing.
No, I mean it's a library. I imagine people from people who travel to a coronation are the sort of people who would go to a library.
Yeah, exactly. It was Mr. Green in the library with with his paladin.
What do you
power.
think, Jake?
So,
I think that's fine because since we're not negatively opposed to them, I think. So I think that's probably fine. What do you think? It's up to you if we like it.
I don't know how much luck we have, and I don't know.
You can luck it and see what we have.
You know what I mean?
Pardon?
I said it's a decent roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Has chat said anything? I can't. My internet's not.
We can
working.
always.
somebody said nice hat. I forgot you had the hat on.
We could
Can't even
always
see it
just
anymore.
add a little bit of extra money if this fails anyway. If we're not failing by much. So.
Yeah, look, we'll just. I want to know how much luck we have now.
You could save that for the rolling to find the sewer plants.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're just gonna go 21.
Okay. It's one of those things where you toss them the coin. You kind of like, you just try to be convincing. Be like, I'd really appreciate if you could process a little bit quicker for us. And you kind of like slide the coin over, because this person would, in theory, I mean, if it goes directly to their pockets as opposed to just a donation to the city, you don't know. If it was going directly to their pockets, that is a considerable amount more money, right? Instead of giving them 3 gold, you're giving them 30 gold, which means they would have a 27 gold piece profit, which is huge. But again, that's assuming it goes to them. You do slide the coin over and are able to, they look it over and they say, all right, I'll get this done for you. It will take a couple of days, though.
I'm gonna slide over put another 10 gold on the table.
Oh. So you said 10 more gold?
I don't, yeah.
He looks down at that and looks up at you and says, "Is there something you really need to know?"
I don't like waiting.
He says, "I understand. Lines can be very frustrating." And then takes the coin and slides him to the thing. He's like, "Just so you know, if you also like a morning coffee, I do suggest that you don't go to Stuck Bars. That place is slow as hell. Instead, you're going to go over to this other local place. They make a mean brew, and the lines are much shorter because they haven't caught on in popularity yet. You gentlemen have yourself a great day. Swing by this evening right before closing up. I'm sure things will be taken care of for you."
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And it's you guys go walking out. Mind you, it's not even like the morning. If you think about everything you've done today, it's like midday.
Yeah.
So
That works. That makes things real fast.
yeah.
Well, we gotta probably go secure a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
How many? So we would know what date it is. How many days to the coronation from now?
How many days to the coronation from now? Sorry.
I don't think we're actually we don't have that knowledge.
Yeah. You haven't discovered that yet.
We weren't given a date for the coronation?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Then I imagine it wouldn't be hard. There'd be people talking about the coronation in the city. So
it's a good idea on why we'll go to that inn you suggested.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
Which inn? Sorry.
Tess just said we should more or less go to a tavern.
We should find an inn, basically.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, my apologies. So yeah, you guys are easily able to go over and find like a place for to spend the night. Again, it's very, very easy to go and find a place to spend the night. Go ahead and roll a diplomacy check just as to gather information. Either one of you can do this. This isn't anything extravagant.
Do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
I have a +0, so. Considering what you rolled before, I think you should roll this one. Okay, it's better than if I rolled a 2.
All right, cool. So you're easily able to find out where a few different inn options are for you. One of the ones that kind of catches you off guard is the person that speaks to you. They're like, "Oh, there's all different places where you can spend the night. It all depends if you're trying to pay for the week, if you're trying to pay for the day, if you're trying to pay for the hour, if you know what I'm saying." So you just kind of go walking about, and they kind of give you directions towards a district, and they're like, "Head over in that direction, and things are pretty good to go." You want a little bit of advice from me, though. Because of the coronation and whatnot going on, there ain't no good rooms left, if you know what I mean. Like people that are coming in and checking out what's going to be happening soon. They're all the nice places are kind of settled up, but if you head into like kind of like the slums, the poor areas, you have the people that they're somewhat influential. They get enough coin to throw around, but not so much coin to throw around, if you know what I'm saying. They've been kind of buying up the cheap rooms down in like the ghettos, and kind of stationing a couple of guards nearby. I ain't never seen those streets clean up so fast before. You can near and walk through that place without clutching your purse. So maybe it's a good spot to gather a room before they're gone completely. That's what I did.
It's not a bad idea.
Thank you for the information. Then as we leave, I would kind of lean into I forget what
the toasty beans.
Gallon?
Gallon. That's right.
There you go.
And say, we're definitely not staying in the slums, no matter how no matter how
Gallon will
they
actually
think it is now.
Gallon will suppress the laugh because that's what he was. Like he was planning. I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a brilliant idea." And then you say that, I was like, "Oh, never mind."
All right, so if let's just
Gallon's fine in whatever type of room, so you're good. You choose the place.
We're just going to go in hopping until we find one that has at least a single room that's not in the slums, so we don't have to go over our shoulders constantly.
That's perfectly fine. If you guys just want to go ahead and roll me a 1d4 plus 1, or ask somebody in chat to roll it.
We could. Josh just showed up. We could ask Josh.
Josh,
to roll
1d4, please. Just don't write the plus 1, and it'll confuse it. Don't trust a Scott poll like that. What does that mean, a Scott poll? I don't even know what you mean. Bonjour. Bonjour, Corel. I don't know what you mean by that, Josh. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to get at? So it takes you guys 4 hours to find a place that is outside of the slums to find a room. But luckily for you, as long as money is not too much of a concern, you don't have to find just a single room. You could actually find a place that has 3 rooms in it. But the inn that you're going to be staying in, it's one of those things where it's like you're going to be able to have 2 rooms on the same floor and 1 room on a different floor, right? All these rooms are not high quality. These are lower quality rooms that they're charging top dollar for, right?
It's like when it's convention season.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. I've unfortunately gone somewhere before where I didn't realize that it was both a NASCAR event and a convention in town at the same time.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was and I was in town because my work was posting me in a spot for training. And so they were like, you front the money and we'll reimburse you. And usually I was like, oh, I don't care. But then I was like, wait, I have to spend 4 nights here. Fronting that money empties my bank account because of how much it was to stay at one of those hotels. Because without exaggerating, this is a podunk town in New Hampshire that costs like $450 a night to stay there. And they were like, we need you to find a cheaper place. I was like, there is no cheaper place. Like, can you drive back and forth? I'm like, you have me work 12, 13-hour shifts, and it's a 3-hour drive each way. They're like, so you can't do that drive? I'm like,
no.
Restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I do love when work's like, just get that and we'll pay you back. And I'm like, with what money can I get this?
Like, can you just drop $2,000? We'll get you back in the next month. No, I can't do that.
No.
On a credit card where I'm paying interest. No. Anyways, so you guys are able to find a place. The rooms are not nice. We used to talk in one of those things where you open the door, there's a bed, there's an end table with 1 drawer and 1 like swinging door. The door's hanging from the hinges, and a wash bowl. A wash bowl that you would bring down to a common area to pump water into, so you could splash your face and wash your pits, or maybe like dunk into for cleaning overnight and morning, whatever it might be, right? But that's all these rooms offer. Nonetheless, they're still going to charge you a good 5 gold pieces a night to be here. Right. They have a bed, yeah. It's a very uncomfortable bed, but again, that's fine. They charge you, 5 gold a night to be here, which again, isn't the big end of the world for you guys. You don't need to hang up on this for too much longer. The important thing to note is that it's an inn that's actually, because again, Yovance had multi-building structures that weren't the most safe buildings, but they are multi-level structures. So it's 2 rooms are on 1 level, but several rooms apart from one another, and 1 room is on a different level, right? So I imagine you probably put Tristan downstairs because, if he is anything, I'll go take care of it. And the 2 of you would be upstairs, right?
Yeah, I would definitely ask Gallon to press the digitation of beds, please.
Very much.
So, Gallon, can you actually do me a favor with that? Can you go ahead and roll me a spellcraft check?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, if the next person to, without being too goofy of a name, if you want to highlight your text with a name, you can name the inn. I should make that an option. Name this NPC, name this inn as like channel point options. But too goofy of suggestions get ignored. Are you happy with your 12?
I mean, it's just cleaning a bed.
Okay, you are able to clean most of the dirt off the beds and whatnot and get a good enough job.
I'm worried by how simple that was. Or why that was a roll.
Yeah, that should have been simple.
Don't worry about it.
Now I'm scared. Okay. Well, we've
I'm sure
bought
you
the
guys.
rooms.
I'm sure you guys might make your way through the evening without any problem whatsoever. I'm sure that you will be fine these next few days. So
Well, uh, well, the good news is we wouldn't be immediately going to sleep in those rooms. We probably, since we have to go back to the place in the evening anyway. How much time till when we need to go back?
this evening. So after spending hours finding this in, 2 hours, you guys could legit just say we go back now.
Yeah.
Up to you.
I say we settle in, kind of probably have something to eat, and then go there.
Okay.
Cool. It's probably not a bad idea either, with you guys having to get in that fight in the tunnels and whatnot. And honestly, Jake's character probably sit there and actually they took from you your carrying crawler stuff, didn't they?
No, they didn't. They took a sample.
Oh, okay,
No,
okay.
they
Okay.
didn't. No,
So
they
you probably do some basic experimentation with the carrying crawler stuff before they end up taking it from you. You know what I mean? That way you can have some
If we're eating down
nail
in
the
the
puckered
inn,
prince.
I imagine the inn has like an area that's sort of like to eat where other people are. Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would be having whatever meal I have down there, and I would
Yep.
be listening to all the conversations, as many as I
And
can.
people are more bustling about the fact that they're going to be able to get to watch the new crown prince taking in the area. Now, this is kind of like lore time. Every province has its own way that it gets new prince. One of the most iconic ones, one of the goofiest ones, if you will, is in Bard. Bard is the one where legit they have a competition of who is the most skilled, and it doesn't have to be like legit like Battle of the Banjos music. It could also be a reciting of poetry and stuff like that, where somebody has to kind of like prove their worth and then eventually actually challenge the prince, which happens, I think it's once every 2 years. And if they're able to overtake and they actually win the popular votes for the performance that they give, they now become the new leader of Bard. Now, of course, this isn't a raw, wow, that person plays a mean electric guitar, because people that are voting, even if you like one person's music better than the other one, if you like the other person's politics, you're probably still going to cheer for that person to make sure that they hold the position or gain the position that you want, right? Let's not be foolish and pretend like otherwise. Excuse me. Yes, wife. I just have them with me. I am definitely hungry. I'm just going to, these are meant to tithe me. I'm going to open them and they're going to erupt with a smell of farts.
Are those just eggs?
Yeah, because I wasn't sure what the plan was.
That's just hard-boiled eggs in a thing, isn't it?
Are you making yourself breakfast?
That will smell bad when he opens it.
What was that? You are not making yourself breakfast? Are you just making me breakfast? Aren't you the greatest wife to have ever lived? Oh, wow. Just pat yourself on the back, why don't you? That's good. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did it probably later on today. But either way, so, what were you, I mean, whenever you want to get around to making breakfast for the both of us. Because what are you going to have for breakfast? I mean, usually my breakfast on most days is just this. So, we don't, oh, we have eggs? I'll take eggs. There's 2 in here, so I'll take 2 more. Thank you.
He eats so many eggs.
I mean, 4 boiled eggs a day with a piece of fruit is usually what I have for breakfast. And usually I eat breakfast at noon. Wednesday's a rough day for me, though. Usually, because I'm at work, so I'm distracted. So usually breakfast is at noon. So
I always have trouble peeling the eggs after I boil them.
there's a few tricks without wasting time on it.
I've tried a lot of the tricks, like the cold water and the solid. It doesn't.
The
it
cold
works
water,
sometimes, but not.
yes.
Okay, go on.
It works more often, but it's not just the cold water. It's also how you boil them to bring it to the cold water. So
All right.
again, but even if you do the perfect method, you're still gonna be like, I'm left with more or less just a yolk, because egg and egg, So
Yeah.
Either way, back to you. But boiled eggs without salt, just simple, clean protein is really good for you. So, what were we just talking about? Okay, So the coronation is, of course, what everybody's buzzing about. They're really, really excited to see this. So the important thing in Yovance, because let me just double check something. I'm sorry. Shit. What do I? Oh, yeah, that's what I got it right. So Daelric. What's this guy? Kingdom built. Nope. There we go. So Yovance falls into the category of Yovincia, I should say, under Trumbar Virima. And Trumbar Virima is the Trumbar of Arcana and the West. So that being said, because when you're looking at the Trumbar Virima, which is the Trumbar of Yovincia, they have under their control Yovincia, Bard, and Vala. And if they only have one region, like Bard is known for its magic and whatnot that it does there, right? Vala is known for being like more or less the Wild West, the great expanse. And there's a lot, like if you ever want to have like the classical adventure campaign in Paradel, that you do it in Vala, right? Excuse me. Nope, it won't come up. Okay. Uncomfortable. Yeah, just have a burp chilling there. Yovincia is another place that, because one of the things that Yovincia takes its pride on is its ability to outmatch Yovance's military. Yovance's military is going to outnumber the military of Yovincia considerably, because they legit crack whips. It's actual slaves. So when you're looking at the sheer volume of soldiers that will approach a battlefield. I know I always make fun of Kingmaker beforehand and how the armies were too big. Well, in Yovance, they actually have massive armies. They will actually march 10,000 soldiers to a field of battle, whereas Yovincia cannot bring that sheer number of people to a battlefield. They'll bring 2,000 to counter the 10,000, but those 2,000 will be properly trained, properly armed and armored. 300. Yeah. Properly, yeah. But 2,000, not 300. Properly led by like their commanders, properly commanded, I should say. But also they'll have speckled in there arcane might. We've seen in Regicide beforehand, there was literally a wizard that encountered Regicide, they snuck away on their way of traveling through Yovincia. We've seen in our campaign Thronekeeper, as well as Regicide, as well as I think Kingmaker, but definitely in Climë, that there are Yovincia soldiers that use wands. So one of the reasons why this happens here is that the person that needs to be taking this position has to be a person that has both shown themselves to be a capable leader, and I mean like a leader when it comes to warfare, but also somebody who's knowledgeable in the arts of arcana and the arts of magic and so on and so forth, because those are the things that are set to be here. But most importantly, it has to be a person that can be seen as being idealistic, as being goodly, if you will, in the eyes of Yovance. So one of the reasons why the previous Yavin here, what became the Yavin here, was their ability to manipulate magics. As we learned, they totally could use magic, probably faking it to be something else. Their ability to command or lead, but also they were so anti-slavery that they literally made laws of just ending people's in Climë if there wasn't proper paperwork to support where they serve, why they serve there, how they serve there, so on and so forth. This is one of the reasons why Tesha's old character in the old campaign really likes that character. One of the reasons why Tesha's character in this campaign really likes that character was because they were idealistic and goodly in the eyes of the people of Yovance, the slaves of Yovance. And so there's a big question mark as to who it is that has proven themselves as commanders, that understands magic, at least at its fundamental levels, and can be seen as goodly to take these positions. And that means that Neil showed up and completely ruined everything going on. The two of you should put your faces together and become one. Fusion for me, boys. Fusion for me.
Am I going to the wrong side?
You gotta do the.
You're safe. You're safe. You're in the safe spot.
I don't have Twitch open because my computer.
So you need to go to the way of your microphone. You just slide to your microphone. Neil needs to slide to his lamp.
To my lamp, yeah?
Yeah.
Fusion. There you go. Got to touch fingertips. There we go.
All right.
That'd be fantastic. You know what? You know what our fusion name would be? It'd be Jail.
Wait. What? There we go. And now we're fixed. Cool. And Neil, did you enjoy a good lunch?
It was swift.
What did you have? Taylor?
A tin of fish and some bread.
You just eat it out of the can, or do you put it like in a sandwich?
I ate it out of the tin, not a can.
Whatever. A question. Solid white or the chopped up red version in oil or in water?
It was mackerel in tomato.
Okay. Wait, wait. It's
Tomato sauce. Yeah.
In that?
Yeah.
That actually sounds good.
It's quite nice to be fair. Like
I won't lie. I'm gonna see if we sell that mackerel and tomato.
it could be unique. It could be unique. I like jail.
Okay, I googled it so I can look it up later on. That sounds good. All right, but anyways, let's get back to game.
Am I on the right mic? I am. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it. It sounds good.
All right.
Are you suggesting that there are times that I don't sound good, Jake? Tesh? Oh God, I'm scarred.
You well done.
I injected enough of my opinions into him.
Someone find me that age app. Age me what, like 40 years, and we'll look the same.
Wow, I'm not even 40. That's rough.
Oof.
Ouch. Okay, moving on. So let's either way, but where were we? So nobody knows who it is. So people are just kind of speculating as to who it is going to be taking this position, so on and so forth. Then it gets time for you to go and collect that paperwork, and then probably go and collect Tristan so he knows where he's spending the night. So you guys go to.
Did I get any sense of like the date? Like, did anyone talk about how many days they have left?
Oh, that's a good question. So it's one of those things where the actual coronation is going to be happening in the next 5 days. That it seems to be setting in place. So the actual official date hasn't been. It's like a royal wedding. You know what I mean? Like old school.
Okay,
You didn't have to spend 70 months to set it up. You can literally be like, we're getting married in 3 days. Get the work done, and people are like, cool, right? So the same idea that you would. It's going to be happening in the next 5 days or so. They'll announce it probably 2 days prior, right? So very soon. Jake and Tess, you guys go there. As you walk up to the place, the people are starting to like lock up and leave. You go walking in, he goes, oh, here's your paperwork. You're good to go, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. And you do also see that you're stamped on there. For Jake, what you understand to be like an express pass, meaning that you don't have to pay the couple copper every time you go in and out. And you do have access to all the different tiers without restricted areas, right? If anything's restricted to like military knowledge or confidential knowledge or whatever it is, that obviously won't be in there. But the 3 different kind of like tiers, so like the basic public knowledge, the why do you need to know this public knowledge, and the no, this could be could be dangerous in everyone's hands, but otherwise should be relatively public knowledge things. Those are all available to you. And of those 3 tiers, it's really tier 2 that things like sewer pipes and whatnot would exist.
Yeah, that's what
right?
I was imagining.
Yeah, because it's like,
why do you need to know this? But I mean, it's public knowledge.
Exactly. It's like I suppose you could just walk down there, you know. So either way, you have full access. And then you can go and gather Tristan. Tristan has literally been sitting down by that campfire area where he's like, oh, it's actually set up pretty decent. Lights up a little campfire, bust out some of his rations, heats them up a good bit. And he's like, you know what? You know, this dried, over-salted meat does taste better when it's warmed up. And he's sitting there and eating a bit of it and, you know, gives a little bit to the horse because horses occasionally eat meat. And you guys are good to go.
No, I imagine going back to the place, still no sense of.
Why would I feed the horse with meat?
Why not?
There's grass right here.
You don't want to give it densely packed calories and nutrients?
No, it'll get fat. I've barely been riding it. I've ridden it like 10 minutes past several days.
Okay. As you just traveled across the country.
Just on a
Yeah,
whim,
but I had to go slow because of the Australians. They can't hack it.
I know. Listen, I get it. Yeah.
When we go down to pick him up, just on a whim, I'm gonna try and reconnect with Virgil.
Not there. Not where Tristan is. So more or less, we don't need to waste time with this because we've already kind of goofed off a little bit.
Yeah, I was just mentioning it just in case.
No, you're fine. I'm at waste time with this next part, so I'm just gonna recap. So Tristan, they got a hotel room. They spent way too much money for it because the places are packed because of the coronation.
Yeah, it's trash as well. Like, what are
correct.
you guys doing?
They got 2 passes to the library. You're not welcome because you're illiterate anyways. You're welcome, sweetheart. They paid extra money for it to happen quickly, and that's pretty much it. They found where everything needed to be done. So you guys are going to be able to spend the night. Unless you care to recap your characters, we can just flash forward to the next morning. Cool.
Good to fast forward.
So the next morning, you guys are going to be going into the hotel, into the library. Yes, Neil.
Sorry. You know when Tesh said about reconnecting to Vigil? Oh, Scott.
The worst part was I made the name Virgil and I never even remotely thought.
I just instantly had like the image of like Octavia's phone just ringing. She just lets it ring and there's just a voicemail and it's just one being like, hey, I left you a message. Don't know if you got it. Maybe you could ring me back sometime. Just instantly.
Her friend's sitting there like, you gonna get that? And she looks down at the answering machine, looks back, she's like, not that one.
She's like, no, I'm busy with this wheelbarrow of corpses that we all have with us in Vigil, because...
Wow.
Fuck Vigil.
Anyways, go on. Next morning, I like this piece, and I'll take over. Oh. Next morning, you guys are gonna head straight to the library, imagine, for opening.
Yep.
We'll get to what Tristan's doing in a minute because I'm sure he has stuff that he wants to kind of look about with the city, and you guys can have a meta chat as to what Tristan would either be told or decide to do around the city to also be useful. But in the meanwhile, when you guys head to the library in the morning, probably there with Tristan, where he'll kind of like leave you off. Oh, Tristan, I didn't charge you for stabling the horse yet. Let's get to that too. But
well, you should have done it because I'm not paying now.
All right, it's slaughtered and taken from meat because there's a lot of people in the city that need the extra food. So one of the things that kind of catches you off guard is even though you're going to go show up there before opening to make sure that you can get into the place or whatever, it's literally busy. There's an actual line of people outside the library waiting to get in. And this is where it's one of those things where you're like, oh, it's a good thing I spent that 40 gold pieces to get that pass. Because it's actually busy to get in here. And you can imagine a place like Paradel actually has laws for limits of people that can go into a building at a time. You know what I mean? Not quite fire code, but more, this building going to collapse.
It's got to be COVID safe, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but do you think this is 2 meters apart? Get out. Inclement.
I don't, but for the record, 2 meters or 6 feet doesn't exist around here anymore. It doesn't exist. Like, it's one of those things where if you're at a grocery store and somebody's kind of close, you take a step back, they don't take offense to it. But like if you're in a line to go and check out at the grocery store and you can feel somebody's breath on your neck, but you're also breathing on the neck of the person in front of you, that's just you're in a line. Gotta make that short. Anyways, so you notice that the place, that the sheer number of people there, it's like, oh, there's a line here. Now, don't worry, it's not like you guys are going to take hours to get in. But what is it that Tristan's going to be doing as you guys are going to get into line? It's DMV busy, Josh. DMV busy.
I mean, we don't really have much in terms of leads right now. So
they were trying to find out, while I think you were just joining us, Neil, they were trying to find out who it is that's going to be getting coronated.
So the only thing I can think of is probably to visit a variety of the local establishments and hear what the rumors are. Because where else am I going to hear the rumors than from a variety of varying drunk people?
Tristan wants an excuse to go and gets his tipsy on. He's like, so you don't
really
really
explicitly paid for by the military, yeah. It's a requirement. You have to know what the common people feel about this.
Hey, I've absolutely filled out expense reports in the past that have included things like, food and alcohol. Absolutely. Reimburse me for that shit, baby. This is a work event. You wanted me to go out to lunch with my assistant manager and so on and so forth, and you wanted me to absolutely. Thank you for 2 tall beers.
You have tall beers?
A tall beer is 22 ounces. So a tall beer is 22 ounces, which
what's that, like 15 American cups?
No. So your pints are what we call 20 ounces versus our pints, which is what we call 16 ounces. So it's slightly more than what you would call a pint. It's 10% more than what you would call a pint. That's all.
You call it a tall beer?
Well, big, tall, or Pilsner is the term that's typically used at restaurants. I gotta get a Pilsner of. Pilsner in this situation referring to size.
You don't just ask for a pint?
So if you ask for a pint, it's a 16 ounce or a short beer. Excuse me.
You got to remember, they upsize everything for the sake of just upsizing everything. I still remember when I went to Hungry Jack's for the first time in America, and I asked for that, like, a large meal, and like they handed me like a bucket for fucking soda, and I'm like, I'll take a small, and it was bigger than our large.
Yeah. I mean, soda. I don't drink soda, so I don't deal with that problem. But I drink a disgusting amount of coffee.
I like a soda, actually.
No, thank you. Rather ice cream. So Why not Neil,
both?
You're gonna go around and do carousing. That's fine. So we'll get to you in a minute. While you guys are standing in line, because you're literally standing in line, even when the doors are open, it's one of those things where you realize there's going to be a bit of a wait to get in there because of the time that you showed up. Probably a good, like, after the doors open up and they're like, oh, the person that opens the door goes, another day of this, and they start like letting people in one at a time as it's going. As you guys are standing in line, there's kind of like you get the impression it's going to be about a half-hour wait that you're doing. The two of you stand there probably having a small amount of small talk about, like, isn't it a little bit crazy, how long this line is, so on and so forth. When you actually have the person that's standing directly in front of you, she's a parent woman herself, standing directly in front of you, will also kind of give a bit of a half look back. And she's like, I know, it's absolutely crazy how long this has been happening like this, don't you think?
How long has it been like this? Like, gesturing to the line.
Oh, you haven't been coming for the past while?
We just got in yesterday.
Oh, are you here for the Yavin here?
Same reason everyone else is.
Oh, well, it's been slowly growing like this ever since the death of the first Yavin here. I want to say within a week or two after the passing, the number of people have been kind of gathering. Those that'd be interested in watching such events or seeing what's happening. I mean, I myself just arrived a few weeks ago.
Where'd you arrive from?
Perrin here. myself. And she'll actually full on turn around, and you could see that she's very pleasant. She's actually dressed very well to her, but not like rich well, just like she's put together very well. Clearly somebody that if you can imagine that they probably live a life of relative comfort, either because they were born into wealth or had amassed themselves or whatever it might be. She, like I said, is Perrin. She's just old enough that you can start to see those Perrin features starting to reveal themselves. So probably in like her mid 30s or so, because usually 30 is when it starts to actually present. So probably mid to late 30s or so. So still pretty young for a Perrin, not a human, sadly. And kind of like a little bit longer hair. So she turns around full on and extends her hands to take yours. She says, "The name is Pan Karam. You can call me Pan."
Once more.
Was that Pan or Pen?
Panqarin.
Okay.
M as in mommy. Holy balls! Oh, sorry. Hi, Ash.
I'm gonna let him, because I'm a bodyguard. I'm gonna act like it and let him do his first before.
You can call me Pan, like as in Peter.
Yep. He'll take your hand and say, they call me Magpie. You can call me Magpie.
You can call me Maggie.
Whoa. Heyo. She'll smile slightly and say, it's a pleasure to meet you, Magpie. So you're here for the event as well. I have to ask, why are you coming to the library though?
Is everyone coming to the library?
Yeah, we're trying to find out some details, find out what it is that, maybe would be of interest to the Turumbar. See who it is that Verima might be picking. Well, in Yovance, it's Verima likes to have a bit of a hand in selecting, narrowing down who the options might be. So that'll likely be getting
Would we
announced
recognize
shortly.
that name?
Verima? Verima is
Yeah.
Turumbar Verima, which is one of the three Turumbar.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, it's very exciting, isn't it? Are there any front runners?
She smiles and says, that kind of information could fetch me some coin down at the pub.
I imagine it
I
can.
think she's asking you to buy her a drink.
You're not there.
No, I know. This is. Don't worry. Don't worry.
This is
That's
Neil.
not Tris. That's me in your head.
Yeah.
Wingmanning.
I see.
That
Jake, it's an older lady. Jake, it's an older lady.
My mediocre inn lately. I share a room with Gavin. Hope you don't mind.
You have separate rooms.
No, we have separate rooms.
And she looks over at Gallon and says, I do not. No.
Oh no.
Nope.
You noticed recently that Scott's playing more and more older ladies.
She's not older. They're in your mid-30s as a parent. You're young.
You said her parent features are starting to show through. She's older.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so she says, that could fetch me some coin down at the pub. You, of course, hear your inner toxic masculinity saying,
That might be one of my favorite jokes you've made, Scott.
Yeah, that was good.
oh, awesome. Go ahead, sir.
I invite her to my mediocre inn later.
What do you actually say? Sorry.
I am so glad I picked a character that shuts the fuck up in this situation.
You know, the reason they like to call me Magpie is because I like to take shiny or pretty things back to my nest. You might not be
See,
shiny.
No. Can I just say
Take
that
over here for
exact
me now.
sentence was that exact sentence was said earlier by Jake, but it was much less creepy. So much less creepy.
She's like, "Oi, you're calling my face greasy, mate."
I don't know what you mean about meeting Ravina. There's no problem.
So,
Okay.
do we all know what kind of lines Neil used to rope in Chloe?
I used no lines. Thank you. very
Chloe's
much.
like, he. Look at him. He's so cute trying. She looks at her
Artie.
friends. She's like,
Patty.
she looks at her friends and she's like, "Don't worry, girls. I'll take this one so you don't have to deal with it. Let's go, sweetie. Let's
One for
go."
the team.
Yeah. She jumped on that grenade. She fucking Captain America that shit.
It's like slow-mo
Wow.
You're
salute
welcome,
as she-
society. That's actually
Being
Brittany.
cute is the best move ever. Norway thinks I'm cute, so you, Scott.
Yeah, we're not talking about you. All right. So, anyways,
Oh, well. Yeah, money at the pub. So yeah. I can't get my head in the right place as much as I'm trying.
I just want you to know, buddy, I
So
believe
wait,
in
Mike.
you.
I'm still waiting for the line to be delivered for me to RP off of.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
got a lot of
maybe-
trepidation.
Well, I was ready to go, and then all these.
I'm sorry,
Then
I'm
you
muting
happened.
myself. I'm sorry. It's
I mean, it's one of those things. I didn't even like describe her as being stunningly gorgeous. You know what I mean? But Jake's sitting here like ba 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 ba.
I get that way from
because
looking at
all
Neil.
women are
Alright.
gorgeous, Scott.
He goes, "You said female? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy." I just like to say that Viggo
Yeah,
version
well.
confirmed.
Lady Grotus took care of that, buddy.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot. You got scarlet lettered. Oh man.
That was one hell of a wagon ride.
I am pushing forward, and yeah, I can't entertain this right now. So yeah, yes, it would. I think it will. Yes. Anyway.
Aye. Old cartoons.
Yeah, calm down, Scott. You're making this worse.
Sorry. All right. So, anyways, you more or less just say, "I'll take you up on that offer."
Yeah.
And I want Tesh to go ahead and roll me a insight or a sense motive check.
Thank you.
Josh says just.
I was going to ask for one at the end of whatever this conversation is. I rolled like shit.
I've met Josh's wife. She also jumped on that grenade. You know, we have a lot of selfless women involved. Okay, like
Oh, wow.
just saying.
Look, the thing is, Britt didn't jump on that grenade because she'd have squished you. You're too small.
She's a foot shorter than me.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, comes America and you'll see sometime. So, so with your 15 cents motive, Gallon, one of the things that you're able to notice is that as he asks, there's like a slight hesitation and a blink from her. And then she's like, "Oh, that'd be great. I would absolutely love to." It took her a moment to realize what he was asking, that he was asking her to a pub. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, no, that sounds great. We'll meet up then." And then it's one of those things where the line behind her kind of, you know, takes several steps and she's like, "Oh," and she'll like turn and takes the several steps, leaving you still directly behind her. But like,
But
you
now
know,
it's
now not
the
talking.
walking to the car in the same direction
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Occasionally she
Conversation's over, but like,
right? Occasionally, because you're still stuck in line, is that like, oh. So Your back is turned.
I really, I really just want that. I mean, I have to be careful when I'm saying this because Steve will just clip the wrong bit viciously in a brutal mockery. But like, I just want that bit of Scott turned around, clipping, go, and then just him staring and then just turning around without saying anything, just no context. and then what we can do is we can get someone to turn it into a GIF, and then when people subscribe. Scott can be there and go.
That's actually fantastic. I really like that.
But you still have the audio once more with feeling.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, like is it
Sorry.
different?
Sorry, for that one you would need this. Here you go.
Clip it. You did it. It's too late. Can't take it back now.
We were relatively on track before you got here, Neil.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just have that effect on Scott. Just whenever I see him, he just does that.
He took the uptime so he knows where to look in the VOD.
Is that why he does it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You watch
I just thought there was
next week.
people yelling at us like, you've gotten 15 minutes of RP done in an hour, 41 minutes, and 8 seconds. So anyways, back to the game. So, and then you guys continue forward. I imagine there's another small amount of small talk between the two of you guys, but it has to be very careful now because now you're maintaining the facade of Magpie with somebody that actually knows your name. And you intend to encounter again later on, as opposed to, who cares what these people think around me, right? Eventually you make your way into the place, the facility, and you start going around to look at different things. It's again one of those fun scenarios where as you're going in to do your research, you occasionally will be like walking down an aisle inside this like library area and going to go grab something, and you look over and look who's standing there, also grabbing a book, and and like the first time you see them, like, oh hey. And then they grab what they need. And again, it's not like anything weird. It's not like they're sneaking around and following you or anything like that. It's definitely one of those like cute little moments here and there, but nothing extreme. Yes,
Can I
Tesh?
pay attention to what books they're grabbing?
Yep, you would have to do a bluff check to not come off as friggin' creepy, as well as a perception check to notice what it is that they're doing. And no, you don't have a spider that can go creep on her.
He's just like,
It's not a,
Hey.
and then
I like that also.
and they just walks off.
I'm a bodyguard. It's okay. Staring at people is my job.
That's creepy. That's creepy. Think about that. Think about that. You're a security standing outside of a I don't know, a concert.
No, it's
And all of a
different.
sudden a group
No,
of young ladies walk by and you just full on gawk at them for like
No,
5 minutes. And you're like, it's my job.
It's very different when I'm following around someone I'm guarding.
No, it's
and
different
I
when he's a
keep-
bodyguard, right? Because you're like a dog, right? You like look at them and you bark at them and you're like, you gonna hurt my client? You gonna hurt my client? Grr. You know, you can't physically hurt a concert in the same way unless you have a bomb, in which case looking at them isn't gonna help.
Josh, are you fine with your 16 or do you want to modify that?
You know what? We haven't had any rolls of luck die. No, I want to save the first roll of luck dice for searching for the thing. I'm fine with 16.
Pathfinder's slowly ruining Tesh to where he's like, oh, a 16, that's not very good.
Okay.
Yes.
She doesn't seem to notice that you're lingering around her. Either that or she's just really, really sweet and is not bringing it up. You know what I mean?
Either way is good.
It's one of those two options happening right now, right? Either way. So when you are looking
I
at
feel
the
like this is a slumbering queen too, where she like starts being helpful and she hands me like some parchment or something, and I open it up, and then everyone looks at me, and I don't realize that it's not parchment; it's actually like human skin that it's written on. Then everyone just like, you
I was
Oh,
like,
damn, that's
name one
dark.
time ever the slumbering queen did
Yeah.
anything
What
even
the fuck was
slightly
that?
on level with that.
Well, she was like, I got someone who wants to see you. and then took me up to a like drug cave where she was like, "Hey, this man's got alcohol-induced liver poisoning. Yeah, he chose to drink it,
Whoa.
but you provided him some alcohol, so you're cool."
Whoa.
Yo, I know he looks like I've drugged him, and I have, but
No.
it's helping somehow. Yeah, his liver doesn't need to process all the poisons I'm putting in his system.
No.
I'm sorry, Scott. We don't have time for your aside.
No, chat knows what you did to that man and that she was saved his life multiple times. That bastard Rayron deserves what he gets. So back to game. Where were we? So one of the things that you noticed, Hesh, as you're looking at the kind of stuff that she's looking into, the kind of stuff that she's actually researching, it specifically details from the history of Yolvance itself, not Yolvincia, anything like that. She's actually looking into details about Yolvance, its history, and stuff like that that happens to be there. So which is why you're in the area where she would be with you guys, because you're also looking into documents of this area when it was Yolvance before, looking into like the underground sewer records. So I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and roll. This is gonna be Jake roll, because obviously he's creeping on her. He's not gonna assist you. He's gonna roll for you to I'm gonna roll, Jake, for you to find what it is that you're looking for. This is
Okay, what do you want me to roll?
for research. It's a knowledge check. It's gonna be a knowledge, I suppose. Once again, architecture,
you didn't
engineering.
want me to help.
What?
Said you didn't want me to help if it's a knowledge check. Without Virgil, I am useless on knowledge checks, except psionics.
Engineering.
Please, sir.
Anything to aid me? No.
Ooh.
So that's gonna be a
Holy
29.
shit. Sorry. Okay, continue. I didn't realize we had that many dice.
That's a 29 total, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Norway is saying that because of a common trope from most of the media that we consumed in our youth, that females are just intrinsically a trap in our minds. What he's saying is stop being so toxic masculine.
Oh,
Toxic
I don't think I'm not assuming that she's a plant. I'm looking at what she's researching because she's obviously trying to figure out who the next Yelvin here is.
Mhm.
So I was trying to see if there was anything I could glean from that.
She seems smart.
Yeah,
exactly.
Meanwhile, Neil's sitting there thinking, if it ain't a bro with the hoe, it's like, whoa, whoa.
I have
Neil, Neil.
that I wasn't old enough for any of that shit in the 80s and 90s.
Bull, you've definitely watched like Rambo's and
not watched Rambo.
Hold up. I don't
The
want
only one that you could use would be James Bond.
I love James Bond.
I don't really. I mean, I like From Russia with Love, but just
I don't want to
red
go off
wine
track,
with fresh.
but you should go back and watch Rambo: First Blood. It's actually genuinely good. If you look at it from the perspective of PTSD, watch it from like understand this is somebody come back from the Nam War. It's really good. But the rest of them you don't have to watch, but the first one. But either way, moving on. So you go around, you're looking for these things. You're definitely able to find the different layers and the different maps and whatnot that map out the actual area of the sewers. The problem is the sewer area, even though it's been properly mapped out, you can see that even the most recent one, Jake, after this place was taken by Paradel about 10 years ago, they also had somebody go into the sewers to map it out. But you can see there's regions of the sewers that were never remapped with the most recent one. So with your huge check right there, you'll be like, why they no finish? And when you actually go to and kind of like looking up all the documents and whatnot that are associated with this and all the different cross-rating, which this takes the entirety of a day. Neil, you're about to get wicked toasted. The entirety of a day for you to kind of like go through this thing to the point where they're like, last call, get your book and get out. Yes.
Just a thing to note, whenever we find out like a map, I would like to do auto hypnosis checks on it just so I can memorize it, just so we have that as a backup.
You can't properly memorize an entire map very easily, right? Because maps are more information than just words.
The specific things I'm looking for are the entries.
But what I was
whenever there's an entry.
What I was going to say is if Jake wants to make a one of his drawing checks and like literally just pipe style, so like literally just like drawing single lines like with a web, and you wanted to make an auto hypnosis check, his combination
like a
Mario
Mario map.
Yeah, so it'd be like a layered, you'd have better control over what it is you memorize. So why don't you guys both roll those checks and I'll continue explaining what I was explaining.
Cool. Do you want me to make a sketch check?
Correct. And you're just doing like a
cartography, it's just a sketch, right?
Yeah, correct. Because you're just doing like lines.
All you're doing is like basically pointing out entrances that might lead to the exit we were at.
I mean, I don't know if
I'm going to
I don't know if you guys have a subway in and where you live in Australia.
Yeah,
I know you have the two.
We have tram lines, not
you can get a
I don't
foot
have a
long.
subway.
I know you have the
We have tram lines, but we don't have. I don't have a subway. I don't know. I don't think there's one in Melbourne or Sydney.
So just so I can, what I'm thinking is, you guys would more or less have would be like if you Google the word Boston subway map. I'm gonna copy and paste this into our Climë spoilers. For this is the kind of map I imagine you're kind of like drawing out with the annotations and whatnot on it, like super quick. Where's spoilers? Climë spoilers. Here we go. Paste. Yeah. So something like this right here, like a very, very simple kind of,
Our tram maps look like that usually.
All right, cool. I figured, even though it's not actually perfect straight lines, it's a general straight idea. Oh, it was weird sounding. So 26 craft skill, cool, and then your auto hypnosis is 24. I assume that included the +5, Jake.
Yeah, it did.
Cool. So with you guys checks, you're able to kind of again get a map with a layered look over it of what you can memorize, and so you do a good enough job. Jake, back to what I was saying. With the areas that you see that weren't fully sketched out, you find out the reasons why they weren't fully sketched out is because those areas were deemed too dangerous to continue sketching. You're actually able to find a list of the number of different cartographers that went in there, and kind of like cross-referencing out of interest, you realize, of the 15 people commissions to do the cartography through there, 7 of them died, and a couple of others were very injured. 7 of them died.
Jesus,
absolutely. And you can actually
quit.
And actually
when
find
the third one died.
Well, it's in Climë. So and then you can see that at some point in time, eventually soldiers were stationed at the entrances. But then as like a year or two rolled on with no incidents or anything ever coming up and attacking the surface, they kind of like left it alone. That was going to be your role for architecture and engineering. For any further information you want to find out about that, you can go ahead and roll me a knowledge local check, Jake.
The biggest thing is we want to look for entrances that would be near the palace. Ooh.
So just continuing with the dangers of that, are you lucking it with your 16?
We have luck.
With your 18? What you're able to discover is the reason why there were dangers is because of things that happen to live down there caused concerns. There was one creature that was actually defined as being, and it's a word that none of you guys know, called an autolog.
That's the guy who made the resilient sphere spell, right?
Yes.
Autolog traveler.
It'd be a separate check later on to find out what that is. That happens to be down there. And then the worst part is they say that while the fauna down there are certainly dangerous, and so things seem to be running well enough that there's no reason to continue mapping it. While the fauna down there is dangerous, they don't actually want to properly cleanse out the fauna because they seem to be intrinsic to the actual function
ecosystem,
of the sewers themselves. So traveling down there is exceedingly dangerous if you're trying to go into either map through the place or go directly from one place to another. But at the same time, while it's dangerous, it's necessary, right? And so now you guys are sitting there like, well, how do we get that crystal back?
Well, it's okay. To clarify, where I'm focusing more on the mission first, I'm worrying about my crystal later, because right now I at least have talked to the colony that if they encounter any of the main colony, to ask them to bring the crystal back to that spot. And so every like day, I'll like find a time to go down and check, and then come back into the city.
Okay, that's fine. And they probably get annoyed because like.
No,
They go
I'm
from,
not like
two
talking to them. I'm just going and using my ability if it's within.
Oh, gotcha.
And
I was like
going
multiple
back.
generations of nobody bothering the shrooms to somebody bothering them every day. It's like,
No, I don't want to bother them. I just want to go use my ability to try and reconnect. If I can't, go back into the city.
Gotcha.
Otu, that spelling makes sense now. I believe I know them as shit demons because they're usually encountered in sewers and they're
That
terrifying.
is a very different spelling than I
so
wrote down.
I pronounce it with an
correct
L.
myself.
I say autolog. I pronounce it like OTLY.
I do agree that the shrooms need to learn that stealing is bad. Seeing as we're Perrin, I would suggest
The
decimation.
shrooms did not steal.
They stole Virgil.
No,
At best, this is
To
kidnapping.
be fair, Virgil tripped their alarm.
Just because someone trips your house alarm doesn't mean. We've had some reports of a guy on a chain in your garden.
No,
Oh yeah,
they-
that's the guy who tripped the
Hold
alarm.
up. How do they know it belongs to someone else? Viking.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
Explain
a
to me how they know it belongs
it's
to someone
a
else.
creature. You can't just steal
Viking.
it.
Only the ones that I've asked to ask for its return know that it was someone else's. And they will. They said they would ask for its return.
So remember,
if the main colony comes
No,
up.
no, they
the
tied
colony,
it up.
the colony
and
doesn't come down.
kidnapped.
They don't communicate with each other. They don't like bring them up on the celly, right? They have
Yeah,
to wait
it's-
for somebody from the main colony to come this way.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all.
That's why I said I'd come back and check every couple
I'm,
days.
I'm sorry.
And I'll deal with
I'm
it
pro
after every
shroom
deal.
decimation. 1 in every 10 will be killed. They'll learn this. Welcome to Paradise.
Um,
On my sport phone.
if you guys want to keep talking about mushrooms, I can tell you about the garden of mushrooms we had in the backyard that Brittany just took care of.
Did you eat them?
No, they're actually poisonous. For lack of better phrasing, I do apologize. They were dick
what I found.
shrooms.
Recently.
Spore.
So remember that game?
edition.
So there was a garden of mushrooms in my backyard that literally looks like penises.
I'm like already done with this conversation right now. I don't need to hear about how your wife dealt with the penis mushroom.
He was
Thank you very much.
So when she
Let's
was
just-
done
let's
spraying
just
them
look
to
at
kill them,
Auntie instead.
when she was done spraying them to kill them, she then dug them all out and threw them into a bag. And she's like, "I have a 20-pound bag of dicks that I have to deal with right now, and I am not happy." So it was I was laughing pretty hard. I was trying to see if she had any of the images that she took of it so I can share it with you, but
I
unfortunately,
don't
not.
think that's safe for Twitch.tv.
No, I
actually.
posted on Discord.
Oh, okay.
Let's get back to the game, but hold on one second. Do you have any of those pictures of the garden of wonderful mushrooms that we had in the backyard? Question mark. Can you send me one of those? Question mark.
Just can't play. I actually thoroughly enjoyed Spore.
Dot,
Spore was
asking for a
definitively
friend.
a bad.
Dot, dot.
It was definitively a bad game, but I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed the concept
Same.
behind it.
There was enough there for me to enjoy. It was not worth
Particularly the
money I
earlier
spent on it.
phases where you were just eating stuff was good, and then as you got later,
So-
you were a bit more like.
There was a really cool thing they added later, which was an ability to make your own quests and share them online. And the way that they did it was good enough that some people made some really inventive, like quests that had full-blown good stories in them and stuff. So that was really cool. But that was a much later feature that was not part of the main game.
Yeah.
Speaking of not part of the main game, so you don't get a connection with visual yet. Jake, that's it. Well, the information that you're able to get during that time that you're there. is kind of like what happened, why it happened, a map out of the place, so on and so forth. I don't know if you're happy with that information alone, that one day of research, being able to have like a layered map, so on and so forth. But after you're done, you're able to kind of, oh, sorry. And then after the Tesh, what he was asking about was sewer entrances that actually lead over near to where the prince's home is. Here's the fun part. There are, in fact, sewer entrances there. Of course there are. For stormwater runoff. So there's different types of entrances to get down to the sewers. There's the massive external gates that exist outside of the city that you can, where things kind of pour out of that usually are gated off, right? But there was that one that you guys had seen that was kind of like the gate was blown open. Then there's also the ones that allow water to run through. So it's kind of like an inflow of water from the river that allows things to continue flowing because you guys are right at the edge of like where water is, right? So it's like where water is able to kind of come in to keep things moving as an inflow outlet. So those are designs that look like the key of the legend. Looks similar to the ones like you guys walked out in, but it has like little lines that go through it that suggest this is where water comes in. Then there's the different entrances that exist throughout the city. These you probably find like old European cities where they're like large kind of like gated things that have like like a outer gate that locks and an inner gate that locks that actually leads to a stairwell down into the subterranean area for you to be able to get there. And those exist throughout the city as well that people could find. There's different ones throughout the city that you're able to find. And all of those are mapped because everything I've just defined is external. So every one of those is mapped, no problem, okay? It's the actual tunnels down beneath that aren't fully remapped in the modern time. Cool. You have to rely on the old maps for that shit. But also in the modern maps is where the stormwater runoff things are. These are what you imagine modern day sewers look like. Literally heavily gated things that aren't easily opened and certainly not just anybody can pass in and out of that exist. The only ones that exist in areas of great significance, like where the prince is and so on and so forth, are the ones that a person can't just easily pass through. And to define that a little bit more clearly, a Hafue that is suffering from bulimia is not going to be able to make a check to get through that mofo. Okay, like that is not happening. Now,
that's not a PC, because it's a mental health problem.
Yeah,
we should avoid that reference.
Well, anorexia, which is also a mental health thing.
Also that one.
Yeah.
Malnourished.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I couldn't think of it.
Malnourished. Okay. It's been a while, but okay. Noted. It's been a while, but did they tell us what the capabilities of the assassins were? Because I think we got told the names. One was a shapeshifter, but there was also talk about a bit about their capabilities. I cannot remember what was stated because it's been ages.
I mean, you know that one was a shapeshifter, but you don't know that they could turn into a snake or anything like that. You don't know any of those.
No, I know that. I mean, I didn't know that they told us about the fact they had other magics as well.
No.
But if we know one's a shapeshifter,
we know that they were capable of killing
a very powerful person,
a prince in their home.
But in their home, that was the key bit.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So we know that it wasn't just like the strongest warrior in the world just waltzed in through the door. We know that there must have been something going on.
Okay, so that's something we can investigate.
Don't we know that the warden, like people were saying the warden did it? And it was the warden there, even though he wasn't there.
That was one of the rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the rumors was the warden. Okay, that's good to know. We can. That's knowledge.
Okay, so that's a different one to find out those kind of rumors or details or whatever it might be, right? So those are the details you're able to find out. Tash, to answer your question, there is no easy entrance where somebody like Arena could go into or out of. Okay. Because Rena's just a dude with an axe. You know what I mean? Like certainly not no magical ability whatsoever. No shape shifting, nothing like that. Rena's just a dude with an axe. So that being said,
Yeah, we just need to go investigate because we don't know. There's a lot of. We also need to find out, like, at some stage, we need to find someone because there were guards there, weren't there?
yeah. But again, those kind
Yeah,
of details, getting more details, you're gonna have to.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find people who were around to ask them about like what happened.
Yeah, not only were the
somehow.
guards there, they were being pursued by your personal friends.
That's right. Yeah. I need to look for a friend in this place at the in one of these days coming up.
All right, so moving on. You guys eventually are gonna got a last call for alcohol. You guys are gonna have to get out. What's her name? She had left. Pan had left a little bit ago. She is not there. She left maybe like an hour and a half before. You guys are staying till like 5 minutes after closing, and they're like, "Oh, I shouldn't have given this person an express pass." And you eventually make your way out as well. I imagine you swing by your room before you head up the tavern. Just kind of like one of those go over there, kind of unload some of the stuff that you have. Actually, maybe you don't trust the locks on the doors. But before you go to where you're going, Neil, hi. Thanks for joining the session. We love you. Your man bun is the reason why you compensate with your toxic masculinity, and we understand that. So you, sir, are going around and spending your day getting your drink on. Why don't you go ahead and tell me how it is you're doing, what it is you're doing, and why it is you're doing it.
Would this be a diplomacy? Yes, it's a diplomacy. So, in most pubs, there is a subset of people who will go and drink, no matter the time of day. These people tend to be gossips, and they like to talk about whatever the local rumors are. Chances are they will also visit a variety of pubs, and that is how the gossip will spread. And they will speak to all sorts of random peeps and whatnot. So he's going to go in and have a drink with some of these groups of people. Just a drink, hopefully.
Before you roll anything, I do want to add on an extra layer of that. Remember, almost all of the rooms that can be rented are rented. Even some people's homes, like, if you want to pay coin, you can sleep in my house. I'll even let you have my bed. No, my wife is not staying in the bed with you. Anyways, so there's a lot more people filling up these taverns and pubs and whatnot than usual. It's actually a boom of commerce because of all the extra people that happen to be in town that don't have regular work to do, at least here. So there's even more people. Continue what you're saying.
And yeah, he'll come in and he'll listen. There's a few people that always want to yak, and he won't have to necessarily divulge that much information or say that much to get him talking, giving him a lecture. The difficult part will be getting away and escaping the lecture when it's done.
So if I remember correctly, the way it works is diplomacy equals gather information. But if you're trying to be discreet or not give away any information yourself, it's not a back and forth, it's just a fourth, then you actually take a penalty to your diplomacy check. Now, whereas your character is not being discreet to the point where you're too concerned anybody's going to learn anything about you, if you're still trying not to offer any information, instead of the classic -10, or give you a -5 to the diplomacy, to offer up no information while gathering, while not worrying about discretion.
I can offer up information. Like everyone nowadays, it seems, is looking for Percy or you. Is looking for information about the oven here. So it would do me no harm to be yet another one of these people looking for information about the oven here. In fact, it would likely make me stand out more if I was being closed-mouthed about it.
You go ahead and roll your diplomacy check.
You
reading about the 4-foot 2?
I was reading about the 4 wooden penises.
I got very confused for a bit there when I was reading.
I read it and already worked through the corrections, and then I was still sitting there going, "Wow, the typo was unfortunate. The conversation even more so." So, either way, I think it's why nobody's responded. Everybody's like, if we don't mention it in chat, it'll go away. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You have to keep chat flowing for it to go away. So, are you happy with your 16? Or would you like to modify that?
I mean, not hugely happy, but also these people are likely drunk and enjoying having more people about, and therefore likely to be happy to converse with Triss. So I don't want to waste luck dice unnecessarily. So
That's entirely up to
We
you.
have age.
It's tiers. It's tiers of success for what kind of info you get. That's all. So up to you,
that's
sir.
fine.
You don't want to
There's
roll?
no good.
No problem.
No, it's not.
So
There's
you-
unlikely to be like a gold nugget hidden among the drunks.
You're perfectly fine. So you're able to discern from the drunken people what they're talking about, so on and so forth, the location of where it is that they're actually going to be doing the coronation is actually an important thing. So you're able to find out these bits of information. The actual crowning of the prince that's going to be taking place is they're actually clearing out the area. Now, mind you, where the prince's home already is a pretty darn cleared out spot. It's actually a nicer area. It's the upper part of town, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It seems as though what they're doing is they're actually clearing out that entire area even more, and they're actually going to be crowning this prince directly in front of the home of the prince themselves. So they're actually going to be having a huge showcase. It's going to make it so only a limited number of people are actually going to be able to view what's going on, because it's going to be like the gathering around this like giant building with a big open space. But because like the gap that you're going to have between where the actual prince is and where the crowd starts, you're only going to have so many people that are going to be able to see there. Then you have like the layer of a couple of people behind them they're going to be able to see, people like hanging on and standing on objects well behind that. But you're going to have lots of like Joshes that can't see anything that's going on because they're well under the line of sight, right? So this is going to make it so where it's taking place is literally at the home of the prince, because most likely the end of the coronation is going to be the prince walking directly back into the home. You understand the significance of that because you understand what it was that had transpired prior, right? So that's where it is that they're doing it. The actual day hasn't been solidified, but you know that it's going to be happening. People are talking about happening in the next 5 days or so. There's people talking about it taking longer than that because two of the buildings that are right near to there, the buildings that are actually the closest, also somewhat older buildings, they're actually talking about demolishing those buildings, destroying them and removing them. Now, whereas if you think about this in the modern day, they're going to demolish a building and remove it. We're fucking months away from doing this, and we have modern technology. Yeah, but we also need permits and stuff like that, and we don't have magic to assist us. So it is very possible when you're worrying about something like, you know, all stops are removed for the sake of royalty, right? That's why, you know, your queen still has a license despite the fact that she shouldn't. They're talking about removing two of the buildings in the area as well. So it's like this whole idea of kind of like what's happening over there, where it's taking place, so on and so forth. There's a lot of conspiracy talk about what's going on. The reason why they're doing it there is because the people that killed the prince to begin with never left the house. And so this person that's going to be there, they're being controlled magically. So they can't be seen too far from the house. Otherwise, they'd be separate. Like, all right, mate. So the way it works here is that you got magic, right? Magic that like controls the mind, right? Makes you like do some weird shit. So, yeah. I'll take two more. So the way it works is if you get too far away from like the puppeteer, like pulling the strings, right, Mike? So if you get too far away from them, you start to get control your mind back, right? So they gotta keep them pretty close to the house there, right, Mike? Because they're still inside of it, and it allows them to go ahead and control them, right? So that the speech, they don't go off of what they're supposed to be saying. Yeah, cheers to that, right? You know. Yeah, so what I say, right, is we get a little group of people and we go and we sneak in that place and we go and fucking kill all of them. That way we know it's the real government, right? Right. No?
Smart. What a smart man. Of course, just go and kill them all. Problem solved. Okay, so I've learned some useful information and some Scott information.
He says, listen, all I know is that you gotta question everything. You gotta question everything. Everything. Okay? I'm part of this group of people. We question everything. And we signify that with just a little.
So you're one of them cubes.
That's right. For question. Question it all.
For question, yeah.
That's right. And we like to keep it private. Right? We don't want people knowing who he is, right? We like to remain anonymous. You question anonymously. We got a nickname for ourselves. Want to know what it is?
Right.
It's Canon. Qanon. Canon.
Yeah, like Quanon.
No, there's no U in there. Like quack. Quack is a U. There's no U, so it's just canon. Yeah.
Yeah, like Quanon.
No, there's no U in there, so there's no
But
quack,
you're
it's
in
just
there.
You get this boy around.
Okay, right. So how do I get an induction into Quanon?
That's an entirely different diplomacy check, there, boyo.
Like you come back and Triss is just like, hey, just got like a Q tattoo.
Oh no.
I may join the secret society. Oops. Okay.
Or worse, he comes back. He's just like, guys, you gotta hear this.
Oh no. That's some of that is useful.
So, anyways, you can that's Dave. Unfortunately, you're dealing with just like pubs, and it wasn't a super high diplomacy check. So, day one, that happens. I imagine you're very intoxicated.
Reasonably so, yeah.
Yeah.
There's only so long you can spend in a pub without drinking, without looking weird.
Well, you can pop. Right. All right. You can go ahead and roll me an intelligence check, Neil.
An intelligence check. Oh boy. Right. Well, I'm not making it back home.
So they told you what time? They told you what time the library closed, that they'll be swinging by there in afterwards. You entirely forgot, and so like they already go to the inn, probably go back out afterwards, and then return to the inn by the time you come rolling back in. Like, oh, I lost track of time, you know. So either way, so you have your you two are gonna go to the inn, you know, switch out whatever you need to do, maybe brush your teeth or whatever it is, because people totally do that. And then you
Prestidigitation.
so
You're regretting giving me that, aren't you?
yeah, I just love the idea of the plaque being scraped off your teeth, and it's like in the wall.
Oh.
Ugh.
It's how we built my house. This wall here's my grandpappy. This wall here's my grandmammy.
Oh, I need a luck roll for you guys. Can each of you go ahead, all three of you go ahead and choose somebody different in chat to roll a d20 for you?
Can you choose one shot? 'Cause I don't
I'm
have
gonna
that.
choose
I don't
Norwegian
know.
green.
Oh, you got green.
Yeah, that would have been a Norwegian green.
Tesh, say it before Jake does. Say it before Jake does. True blue.
Viking.
Yes.
Yeah, Viking hasn't let me down yet, so
Viking never lets anybody down ever.
Look, even redeemed a luck after I said that.
Today is the day.
So D20 from Green and Viking, and Jake needs to choose somebody.
I don't have Twitch open. I need you to
Oh.
choose some.
let's say you have muffin. You do Kyrie blue, Kyria blue, just blue.
Yep.
Like they're blue, they'll do for the Aussie.
I mean, I know that name because I see it all the time here in Lost Initiative.
It looks
I
good.
don't know how to
Viking.
pronounce
Hopefully
it.
Lois.
Oh,
Hopefully
green.
Lois.
One way, one of us did bad.
Oh,
just don't
there we
"Oh,
go.
shit."
Lois good. Don't worry.
One of the things
Oh,
you guys,
good. Then I'm sorry.
one of the things
Let's
you
hear
guys
it.
notice. This is Viggo and Tristan. Probably at the end of the day, you guys would
Oh, good.
notice. You hadn't noticed it all day, but by the end of the day, after being a little bit annoyed, probably notice that you're a little itchy. Like you realize, like, oh god, I've been scratching myself a lot today.
No, Viking, you did good. Thanks, Viking.
No
You-
way.
You did great.
No way. You gave me
I'm happy.
fleas.
It might be a different problem.
Clever wordplay there.
Galen, can you maybe try doing that thing to the bed again?
Oh, who's to say you
Okay,
know what
well.
happened?
I woke up itchy. All right.
He's
He
a
would
trained
know.
alchemist.
Yeah.
You know that beds are made by alchemists. Pfft. Truly, they're magic.
So I would prestidigitate the beds again, carefully, more carefully this time.
Wow, no way. It's like, no, you didn't get fleas. You got ticks, mites, and fleas.
Did you go ahead?
Thanks.
One of those when you
Thanks,
see those
bud.
videos where they lift up the bed and it's just bug. There's
Oh.
like a layer of bug.
Go ahead and roll me a spellcraft check, and this time maybe luck it.
Oh,
Do you want to luck it or no?
I think 20, considering I have a +2, 20 is pretty good.
So this time you do prestidigitation, fully aware of what their concerns are. You're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been fine. I guess I noticed you itching today. Yeah, no problem, Viggo. I'll go over there and take care of that for you. You prestidigitation through the bed, kind of like sweeping through it, and you have like something near, like a container nearby, and you throw into it. And the sheer number of bed bugs and whatnot that you find inside there, and actual ticks and whatnot you find inside there, you're like, close that container. Let me go check
Yeah.
let me check Tristan's room real quick.
Yeah.
And you go into it, and then like after you get that taken care of, and you like grab this like small box, like wooden box, whatever, and you throw it into the fire downstairs. After you take care of that, you go into your room, be like, all right, I'm just gonna go change my shoes real quick. Go into your room, and you cast like 5 more times on your own bed.
Yeah, just really check my own bed.
On your own bed, you find just like a little bit extra dust and whatnot in there, and you're just like 3 more times just in case.
Yeah. It's the thing where like every time you lay down on the bed, and like every time you're like, prestidigitate. There's nothing there, right?
Yeah. So anyways,
Ugh.
it's pronounced Kira. Oh, because your parents wanted to be your Twitch parents wanted to be different. So Kira.
Kira.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool
I
name.
assume
like it.
I assume it's pronounced Kira, as opposed to like Kyra.
Kira.
I've always loved the name Kira. It was one of my favorite names. Actually, my ex-girlfriend from years ago, like the big relationship I had a long time ago, she had a tattoo of a fairy who we named the fairy Kira on her shoulder. Either way, so I always love the name because that's what we named the fairy on it, right? Like I love that name, so gave the name to that. And then you watch like what was it? I think it was Chronicles of Riddick, or it was one of those movies where Jack from the first Riddick movie becomes
Yeah.
Kira later on, and I was like, such a badass name. I'm so glad that was, you know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Jack. Anyways, I love that name. So moving on, and you can check the VODs if you want to comb through thousands of hours of Twitch footage. I've actually told that story before. So moving on.
Most of the stories you tell, Scott, you've told before.
All right, so let me tell you about this time that I was bleeding when I
Oh
pooped.
God.
No, it's a new one. No,
Nope.
too fresh.
Nope, I'm good. Let's continue.
All right. So where were we? So you're going to be heading out to the pub to go meet with this pan, right? Are you bringing your wingman, or are you going by yourself, Jake?
Uh, well, it's up to you. I can go do my daily go to the sewer entrance round.
I mean, you can come.
Okay.
Jake's nervous because his girl's there.
It also works as just the
We've
bodyguard
been doing
aspect.
this for I don't know, like a while at this point, like 2.5 years or something, and that was one of the only times where I actually started to get uncomfortable. there's been a lot of shit that's happened, and I was just like, yeah.
I think it was truly because it was just so out of fucking nowhere.
You talking about Neil's line?
Yeah.
I hope somebody clips that so I can make Jake relive that discomfort. Jake.
Yeah, right. So we go to the yeah, thank you.
Love you,
We
mate.
go to the we're meeting with Pam, okay? We go to the inn, tavern. thing.
Cool. So it's funny too because I don't remember what Neil said at this point. But you go to meet up with that at the tavern. Now again, because it's evening time, as opposed to what Neil was talking about beforehand. The taverns are full. To the point where you go walking in and you get there around the same time as her. Yeah, there's no sitting space. There's like find a pole for one of y'all to lean up against, and the other two are standing nearby. Being like, that's our pole. That person's leaning on the pole, this is our pole. Don't. Yeah, like we have designated this as our spot. You know what I mean? It's one of those places where it's so busy. It's one of those times where it's so busy. You don't have like a bar wench or a barmaid or whatever it is coming around, or barman. If we say bar wench, which is condescending, what would be the condescending version for a male bar person?
I don't know.
Bar wanker?
This
I don't know.
isn't correct.
Jack, come up with
First thing
something.
that jumped into my head was himbo. That's not correct. That's what immediately jumped into my head.
We need a condescending version for a bar wench for a male. Either way. So, or even for a bar person. What's a gender neutral condescending term for a person that works at a tavern? So moving on, you guys are stuck kind of standing there. It's not even one of those scenarios where you have somebody coming around and offering to refill your drinks or anything like that. It's one of those fun scenarios where anytime you want to, you're like, let's say it's Gallon is like, I'm gonna go get a refill. You two want one? Yeah, you're in. And even though you don't want one, you say yes. The reason why you say yes is 15 minutes later, they show up with the drink that you didn't want yet.
Yeah.
And now you've been holding it empty for about 10 minutes. And you're just happy to have something to hold. Because once conversation gets a little awkward and you can't take a sip to like fill in the gap of the awkwardness, you're just holding an empty glass. Moving on. And
Sadly,
Brad,
you did.
Wow, Anna.
Wow.
Mug jockey.
You did hit on
I actually like mug
you did
jockey.
hit on a very valid point there, though, Scott. That there isn't a degrading version of the male form
That's
because
what I was thinking.
society was ruled by men and
Well, at
they
the
just
time,
hated
sure.
women.
So can you ask Chloe to decide officially what the condescending term for a male bar wench
But I
would be?
disagree. I disagree with swinging back in the opposite direction.
I'm
I
sorry,
think
we
it's
should
finding
have equal
balance.
condescension.
I actually think I agree with Neil. I like the idea of just a one that fits all sort of thing.
Well, it said that earlier, gender neutral.
You did.
So,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so we're gonna say poli-sci major. Okay. So there's no poli-sci majors that can come over.
I like Norway's versions actually.
Yeah,
take
always
either
come up with a
of
couple
those.
of good ones. Yeah, Mug Jockey was the other one that was really good.
Either way, so moving on. What was I saying? Sorry, because we goofed. So you're like posted up on this like pillar or whatever that's inside the area having conversation. So you can imagine as you meet up, there's that initial like interaction and like, oh hey, yeah, oh yeah, no, I already got mine, thanks. Well, you want me to? Screw it, yeah, might as well. That whole kind of like initial greeting, whatever. So we can kind of like push through the jittery part that is going to make Jake feel uncomfortable as Neil makes a couple of side comments and get to the meaty part of the
It wasn't
conversation.
any comments. It was I was put on the spot weirdly,
Yeah.
and I didn't know where to go, and it just kept getting worse.
Well,
I
it wasn't.
actually barely
It was
understand
not
that.
my intention to make you feel uncomfortable, Jake.
No, it wasn't that way at all.
It was
wasn't anything-
100% his
Uh,
intention to make you feel uncomfortable.
No, my
Look-
intention is to share a steak dinner with wine with Jake. Actually,
In real life, that's a different conversation for
yeah,
me.
that sounds. Yeah.
So, yeah. Either way. So, continuing. So, kind of getting to that point, she'll actually bring conversation in game. She'll actually say to you, she's like, "Oh, so what were you researching?"
I was
Suits.
was she near us at all?
Yeah,
Like,
she was on the
did
same
have
level
seen
as you
what we
guys
were
all around. She saw you guys were looking at. She saw that you did maps or whatever it
Um,
was. But she didn't like creep over your shoulder like some people.
Remember,
Yeah, well,
you are an alchemist, and there are lots of things we found out that would help an alchemist.
Yeah, I would have said the city architecture. I'm wondering what remained after Paradel took it.
What remained after Paradel took it? She goes, well,
Yeah.
Also, as a note, I would have told Jake what she was looking up earlier, just so there's no meta worry.
of course.
What was she
Jake,
looking
you-
up? No. never mind.
Exactly that, or something like that, pretty much.
Yeah, what remained of the original Yovance region, so on and so forth. So she says,
Oh.
"Huh, funny. I was looking at similar things myself. That's probably why we were so close to one another. But I saw you had maps drawn out everywhere. What was that the original city plan? Because I wasn't able to find that myself."
Oh, you probably weren't able to find it because I had it.
She kind of chuckles and says, "Well, if you're going to be there tomorrow, if you want to point those out for me so I can get my hands on it a little bit easier, I'd love to see the original city plan."
Tell me, what did you find out?
Predominantly looking into the history of Yovance, the different importance details to who they are, what made them significant along this region. Because, originally the Yovance border was east of here. It didn't lie to the west, it lied to the east of here. Obviously, this being a Yovance city. So when Paradel took over, as Paradel tends to do, they will kind of keep certain core ideologies of what made the prior region feel like a close-knit society. They tend to keep those intact. That way they can really kind of like work to keep the people feeling like they're at home, even though obviously they're being welcomed into a much greater place to live, right? The big changes, of course, being the ending of the slavery. I mean, that's why the previous Yavin here was who they were. They were very anti the way that Inclame was used. They didn't like that Inclame was more or less just at random bodies thrown against the wall to see what stuck. So usually a lot of Inclame soldiers had some of the greatest tacticians or commanders that worked over them. Have you ever heard of Leon Jaeger?
I have actually, yeah, because he was mentioned when we spoke about my brother. Yes, I have.
So Leon Jaeger at one point in time actually commanded over pretty much the all the Inclame armies that existed over here, because his training and his tactics made it so that very few would be injured or killed in their service. That way there wasn't just paying for your freedom with your blood. It was kind of a good tactic. But beyond that, Leon actually specifically would hand select very specific Inclame only soldiers to have them rise up in the ranks. People that he would select to become officers. That pretty much anybody he selected has gone on to have a pretty terrific career. Almost everyone selected has had a pretty terrific career in the Paradel military. And
Is there one that stands out that really didn't?
She kind of it does like a little bit of like a nervous chuckle and takes a sip, and she's like, "I don't want to speak ill of Commander Jaeger. He did a lot for Paradel, for Yelvincia, for all of us. Well, I know that you're not from around here, are you?
I've traveled enough.
Well, I mean, you're not Perrin, so not so much necessarily for you, but for, I suppose, if you are traveling through the area, you get to reap the benefits of his and others' hard labor. Either way, he did a lot to make sure that those of you Avants did not suffer as they joined you Vincia.
Okay.
So I would give like a real nod to like that, like of respect to that sort of thing. But that's a good thing. So like that would be something Galen would respond to.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you
yeah.
push that issue at all, or
no, I don't.
So I'm actually curious because I've looked for some time now, off and on, for original city plans, and just looking at the way that the city is built and how I've heard of these stories, I honestly didn't know if Yovance pre-plans their cities. I have taken one foray into Yovance itself, but I won't lie, it's dangerous out there. And while when I travel, I do keep a weapon at my side, it's not like I'm particularly skilled at using it.
Can I sense motive that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, yeah, I would like to as well. Yeah,
Go ahead.
just cause.
Did you guys both already roll?
Yes.
Okay. You can tell that, I mean, she's it's one of those, you don't think that she's lying, but I will offer this. What one considers skilled is a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Like a
that
commoner would probably be like, bro, you a master. But like somebody who's like an actual like soldier would be like, "Meh."
When she says like that, like it's dangerous out there, I'd just be like, that's where I come in. Just almost sort of like that's my job sort of thing.
Yes, and lucky that you were with us. That's where we just came from. I mean, I'd offer her a little bit of insight on she said something about cities, so I would just
Oh
explain.
god, yeah. The hellhole that
in
was
the,
the city we just came from. What was it
No,
called?
the capital in particular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring up the map. Do we have a command for the full map?
Mm-hmm. Paradel or Aurorum. Which I honestly should change that to Eroth. You can type Aurorum right now. I'm going to change that to Eroth.
I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Where's the...
Aurorum.
Oh, I missed a letter. That's what happened. There we go.
And I'm actually going to change that to Eroth moving forward. Because, but not with this funny symbol, because it's too difficult for people to type. Because it's not actually all of Aurorum.
Okay. Yeah, okay is the capital, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Arkay's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll just give her a bit of insight on, what I've seen of the capital there, building wise.
Sure. And she's appreciative of course, of the information that you provide for her. And she'll actually say, so you guys, like, that goes on probably conversation for a little bit with that information that you're sharing or whatever. And, occasional sips or whatever of drinks, and a couple more drinks come and stuff like that come and go. Not that your characters are by any stretch of the imagination getting drunk. Maybe a little bit tipsy to the point where it's like you feel that warming in your face, but not anything that's going to impair your characters, of course.
Does.
But again, nothing that's going to impair. Well, you sip so infrequently that your sad little liver gets tipsy off of not as much. So
Fair.
anyways, but nothing that's going to impair your character's judgment by any stretch of the imagination, just to be clear. So that being said, you guys have this conversation with explaining things, and she actually asks a lot of questions. One of the things that you notice, once again, with your sense motive, just kind of like reading this person, is she really does absorb this information. She seems to be somebody that is thirsty for knowledge, as opposed to Neil, who's just thirsty. So she continues like kind of like having this conversation back and forth with the stuff that you're able to explain. However, it does get to a point where like you're trying to talk about the place like you know a lot about it, like you've been there many times, except you haven't. So why don't you go ahead and roll me a bluff check there, sir? And Tesh, you can absolutely aid him on this first.
Okay, yeah,
wasn't
I
really
would be
trying
aiding
to come off
because
like I've been there heaps of times, but
You're a
the one
merchant.
I at least have a good memory,
Yeah,
so
not from
that
the
my
events.
bluff is like going off things he said, adding extra details, being like, "Oh, you remember that," sort of thing. So that's what my assistant's bluff is going to be.
oof, you should've rolled
Oh,
it.
So either way, you give him a +3. Go ahead, Jake. Again, I still say I like the idea of the 3. I should look into those sometime.
what?
It's a 3rd edition thing. I like the idea is like you guys
Oh,
can
that's not too bad.
you guys can sacrifice skill ranks to train in certain skill like extra traits or features. So like if everybody sacrifices say 2 skill ranks when you level up to a certain type of skill trick, what it is when one person rolls to aid the other one, the person that gets the higher die roll is the one that you use. The person that gets the lower one aids that. It's like a thing from one of the books that are on my
Okay.
floor somewhere around here. Is where like the shelves came in. It's just I've been too busy to literally hang the shelves. So
A way to like make us better as a team, but a little bit worse. Separate.
exactly, it's like teamwork
That's
things.
cool.
And I
Yeah.
think the way Pathfinder tried to handle this sort of a thing was with teamwork feats, but like teamwork feats tend to be too much of an investment for either way. So continuing.
Yeah, there are a lot of like I love Pathfinder feats for how many varieties there are, but it is very much you have to invest. Like
Yeah.
once you invest, there's unfortunately less variety because you're like, no, I need these.
I was there's
I was gonna say roll luck, but so
well, he can still roll luck because he has an 18 currently.
yeah.
No, I don't. No, I have a 16.
Oh, does that include his +2?
I know. Oh, that
Yep.
includes the +3.
Oh, +3. My apologies.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It
So
does.
Well, roll a luck, you might get a 20.
so she gives you a little bit of a wry smile, and she
Oh,
says,
never mind.
she gives you a bit of a wry smile, and she says, "Daddy's business." After you're like kind of like most of the way through the conversation,
Yeah. Alright.
so she's
well-
kind of sitting there sipping her drink, and she's just kind of like,
That is a
Daddy's
a
business.
snide marker. That is a poke.
Not anymore.
"Oh, I'm sorry for your loss."
Thank you.
She's like, I have traveled, like I said, a bit into Yovance, and it was a decent foray. I spent a bit of time there, but it was only the one time ever, and I would like to go back through. Are you going to be traveling through there at all?
I don't know yet. We'll see how the Really, I had no plans after the coronation.
That does bring me to my next question. Why do you care about the coronation? Is it just because it's an exciting event and you've got the spare coin to show up for it, or is this some sort of investment?
It's witnessing history.
So, special event it is.
Yeah, and yeah, you just leave it at that.
She kind of smiles and she's like, I have to admit, I'm here for the same reason. The idea of being able to witness history is important, especially since I'm a bit of a collector of stories. Truth be told, even though all three of us here happen to be Perrin, I was born in Paradel. I'm actually was born in Perrin here, but I was trained in Bard much of my life. And so I like to take to the lessons and whatnot that were taught to me. I like to gather stories and It's understood that if you gather the stories the right way, you gather the important details, the fundamentals, but then you can get even just one or two more extra details beyond what other people have been able to glean, or at least are able to approach from a different perspective, maybe that of the locals that weren't tapped into before, or your own perspective. You can put a little bit of a twist onto it, and bam, you have a bestseller. And the people that are born rich, they gobble that stuff up. You can throw it out into the local prints that happen, and you can feed out little bits here and there and make a good amount of revenue from that, as well as publishing full books, and you can make a good amount of revenue from that as well. And it allows you to make an honest living, telling important stories and hopefully uncovering deep lost truths in the past. For instance, I have a lot of interest of what's going on over here. Can I tell you that for a minute there, I actually almost went to the gate. I'm sorry. Have you ever heard of the gate?
Shakes his head.
It's called Magadon. She lets it linger for a second. And when there's no click or whatever, bluff check both of you.
That's why I tried to avoid talking.
You know what? Given the backstory that I've got in mind,
Jake, you have a bluff check with a. I'm gonna give you a +5 to this. Don't worry, it's 16. Okay. Test roll yours.
So before I roll, I actually want to note something. Very much, if she was gonna, Galen and me have thought of a backstory for Bandit, should he ever be questioned. Given that the idea is that he very much was not a good person before mercenary, can I deliberately fail but make it look like I'm trying to hide that I don't know what it is? But in a sense
that's also a bluff check, but you're just trying to hide the
cool.
why. And so once again, +5 would also apply to this. So you have a 20. Cool.
20.
And I'm gonna go ahead and roll mine. Same as I just did before. It's like she has a crazy awesome check on this one.
But she keeps rolling high.
I keep rolling well. Why can't I roll that well when I'm trying to kill Cell? So anyways, she just kind of again, there's that silence. Does it linger? And then she just kind of pushes on. She says, but then I realize there's a dead end to this. A lot of people that have gone up there trying to seek information, they just end up finding themselves in a bit of trouble for this reason or that, or dead. So I passed that on and took a different opportunity to come this way and look into the goings on in Yovance. I happened to be interested in heading this way when all of a sudden the death of the Yavanhir happens, and I kind of scurried up and finished what I was working on at the time to come this way as quickly as possible. So, as you said, making history happen, and as history happens, kind of investigating it. And this is when she kind of leans in a little bit.
He says, well, with the death of the Yavanhirs, maybe one of the stories of the century, murdered in his own place of residence. And I don't think they even caught who did it.
He actually says, I've heard that they did catch them, but they got away.
How?
Huh.
So, from what I've understood, they actually saw who it was that did it, and even encountered them. There's a little bit of a kerfuffle that happened in the streets later on that day. Not very long after it transpired. There's a little bit of a kerfuffle with a Perrin man, and he was being attacked by one of the Yavanhir's private guard. But the private guard ended up getting injured pretty severely, and the other one got away. So it seems like they were pretty close on trail, but then they lost scent of them. And this is where things get really interesting, because they lost scent of them even though the entire city was on lockdown. The entire city was on lockdown. It's believed that they didn't escape the city right away, that they actually stayed hidden within the city for a period of time, that there might even be holdups in the city right now that somebody that would even go so far as to attack and murder the Yavin Hair would be able to stay hidden in?
Surely not.
You say that, but there are other rumors that float about, including rumors about the Yavin Hair themselves.
Are we aware of the rumors?
Yeah, 100%. Remember, you heard about them, and it rattled Tesh a little bit.
Yeah. Right.
So that's the case. The coronation could be even more entertaining. Like not he's trying to say entertaining as in like
Yeah.
not speaking about it, but like
when your
more's
friend
gonna
hurts themselves,
happen.
you're like, that's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny, you know?
It's more just like more is going to happen, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Coronation is a formality. It's formal. The mysteriousness lies behind who will take over as prince. The real story is why he became prince. Is what happened.
Or the previous
How
card.
the previous.
Okay, go ahead.
What happened? Like how he killed. He says more or less that's the real story. The other one, it's a formality. The mystery behind who it is, isn't as exciting as who killed the last one. Why he came to be even able to be a prince.
She shrugs at that and kind of like will lean back a little bit because it's less like conspiratorial kind of information. And she says, well,
Yeah.
I mean, the Yavin here was a Medahina. I mean, I'm not sure if your families choose to follow the Perrin code, but Medahina is something that is no joke and really inspires a lot of the youngest born to some pretty extreme action. They will go very far, sometimes desperately far, to either regain the stature that they had prior to losing it, or to regain the stature they had prior to losing it, or to have any leg to stand on in the world. I mean, many Medahina will do not only extreme things to gain a name for themselves, but the others just leave Paradel, not wanting to be lesser than they once were. They could find themselves an equal more easily if they just, I forget what the word is, but when you live outside of your country, there's a word for it.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, but once again, like you, the word is just gone.
Yeah, there's actually a specific word for like when you live abroad. But that's fine.
Expat? Like an expatriate?
Yeah, I think it's expat. Yeah, it is expat.
Exile.
Yeah, I
Not
just
quite,
said it
but
while I
close.
was like, I said it while I was muted, and then
No. Exile is the other word for Australian.
I know.
Yeah.
And then Jake's like expat. I was like, I just said that all right. Muted.
Oh yeah.
By the way, so somebody who was formerly a Patrick but no longer is. They're now just a static expat. So, oh my god. So she says an expat,
Is it public knowledge that he was a Medahina?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. His name was Haven Medahina.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if Bandit has anything to add here or talk about.
Not really. The only no, he wouldn't actually say that in this conversation. Never mind, he'll say that later.
She says,
Um,
oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Were you going to say something?
no, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, I think Scott thought you were. Yeah.
Yep, I did. So if like conversation seems like it's trailing off, like you guys don't have much more to talk about, which sounds like it's the case.
Yep.
She says, well, the evening's getting late and my vision's getting a little bit fuzzy. She says, it's around this time of day that my wife creeps in on me. 1 second.
where he says that, you just see a 2x4 just swing into camera, clobber him on the face and out right after he says that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots we could have asked her, but I have a mind blank. I can't.
The fact
Think
that
about
she
it.
knows about the
Not
gate is kind of sus, to be honest.
Yeah.
Actually, we were told it was
Well,
a rare
not-
thing.
not necessarily if what she deals in stories, because
Yeah,
the
but
gate,
does she deal in
is
stories, or is she
The gate
just
is a
collector?
rumor. Well, a collector, yeah, but the gate is a rumor, so it's not like it's a full blown secret. It's just we're not sure if that place actually exists, sort of thing.
Hmm.
From what I remember.
She
Yeah.
knew it as both the gate and Magadan as well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she obviously, yeah. But what I mean is, if someone was looking at stories, they'd be able to figure out the name of it.
Yeah, but she knows about going there.
Well, you also have to remember, but in Climë, people were sent to deal with something there.
Yeah, but we weren't the standard in Climë.
That's true.
None
Yeah, I
of
mean,
our
I guess I
missions
don't know
have been
enough about
standard.
the setting to know if that was an unknown thing or not.
No,
I think she could
just
be
from my
very useful
understanding.
to us. It's just whether how much we want to let her know, because for one thing, we already know something that is huge. Is everyone else thinks they stayed in the city,
Yeah.
which we know is not the case.
Yeah. So what is our objective here again? Like, we're to witness the coronation, and what was the other
So,
part?
to witness the coronation / protect the coronation is a secondary. That's just if we're there, and we don't have to protect it. It's just we can interfere if we're there and things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that said,
our
I think it will look
primary-
pretty bad if the new Yovan here gets killed while we're
Yeah,
here.
no, I agree. I think we'll probably interfere if that happens. But the main reason we're here is to find out what happened to the assassins, where they went, if there are people working with them, that sort of thing.
Okay,
And obviously,
so we know
that,
so
he
far.
noted something there. A pairing man. Now, this could have been the shapeshifter. I'm glad that I don't actually know, because I didn't watch that episode. But that the pairing man that could have been the shapeshifter, or it could have been someone working with them, which means there is people to discover that we're working with them.
To be honest, it sounds like the best lead we have right now would be to find the person who was severely wounded in the battle outside while they were getting away.
You already did.
Yes. What?
You already did. That was your friend. The one that fought the person that they were fighting was
okay.
what's his
Yeah,
name?
I've never known
Yondas.
them.
Yes, you did. When you were on the boat leaving the
Garfon, you weren't there that session.
maybe Neil wasn't there, but his character was.
Yeah.
It was your ally. He in more or less.
Garfon.
Yeah, he attacked at Yondas, and Yondas used his
Oh, so that was Yondas. Okay.
yeah.
Wasn't it inside this city?
In that case, I would have
In the
known
city.
that. So that's a whole thing.
Yep.
I don't know who
Different
this
thing.
friend is that we're talking about.
So let me
Garfon was someone I
recap. Let me
trained with.
recap.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you guys were leaving Magadan or the gate, you came across another boat in the river, and they were like, "Yo, pull over," and you did, and you're like, "I know you." And if you look at Tesh's Session 0, they're the people from Tesh's Session 0. They're actually people he trained with. These are other psionics that Tesh actually trained with, and so that's how you found out about Rena, Ophios, and Yondas. So I think what you were told were
It's
Rena,
why
Yondas, and
I have
Shapeshifter.
it's why I have a mental. I actually have an auto memory of what Rena looks like because of them.
Correct. And they explained what it was because they were the ones they served directly for the Oven here, and the reason why they were even bumping into is because they were tracking down all the rumors of Rena, including Rena having gone to Magadan to the gate, and having served time there. So they're gathering information and whatnot, and so they're like elsewhere doing research and da 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 da. Moving on, he was the one, Galfon, that attacked Yondas, stabbed him, but Yondas actually has this feature where once a day, as a reaction, he could turn an attack on the attacker. And so more or less, if you think about the smell of
okay.
honeysuckle, which is a kinetic barrier, instead of the kinetic barrier, almost imagine literally like a barrier itself that blocks physical attacks. That barrier kind of like almost has like as an attack comes in, kind of like comes in like a point this way. He's able to kind of like redirect that barrier outwards at the person on the other side for like an equilibrium, and it stabs them back. And so that's how the character was. He hurt Yondis really bad, but Yondis, instead of taking the damage, did it back to him. And so that's like what transpired. And this girl apparently had heard the rumor of the kerfuffle that happened in the streets, which, since there were witnesses, isn't impossible to find for somebody who's actually searching for it. So,
yeah.
And she said she's making
this happened in the streets, though, right? Which means
the fight
that happened in the streets. Yeah.
Yondis himself wasn't really a part of the fight with the Yavin here. He actually
Oh,
came.
that's spoilers. That's meta.
Oh, my apologies. So in the meta. In the meta, the group kind of wasn't always together. So this would have been post-death of Yavin here is when this happened, which is what she said. Which is what she said. Post-death of Yavin here is when this happened.
No, I'll clarify it for what we actually know. For what we know, Neil, is there was a kerfuffle in the street. I would actually know that the person who got injured was Gerfon because we had a whole conversation about that stuff. So I would know that is still I wouldn't know that parent person was Yondis though necessarily. But in my opinion, a lead that we can look at is look at the.
They told you it was Yondis.
Oh, okay, then I would know that.
That's why you have Yondis' name.
That's right. No, you're right. I forgot we did figure that out.
Was Yondis alone?
As far as you were told at the time, he was by himself.
Okay, because this is what I'm thinking is we know that we know how they escaped, but it sounds like from this that at least Yondis had come outside into the streets, so they didn't use like a sewer tunnel or something like that from the.
That's a good point. Wherever that fight was, if we can find that fight, like the exact location of that fight, and we can look for places near there that are entrances, because then we can work backwards from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if we can trace where Yondis went after that, that's even better. But that's unlikely.
That's gonna be difficult.
Yeah. But we can, if we can use that, so we can find places where they might have hidden near that fight.
Sounds like the biggest thing. What Viggo would be thinking is they have collaborators in the city, people that have hidden them.
Yes, that's part of what we're here to find out.
Yeah,
and it's looking like that's the case. Because at the very least, they didn't go into a sewer with ease by the sounds of it. So it's likely someone helped with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who would have access to the sewers?
That's another lead we could probably check.
Okay, so obviously that's a check that you guys would look at afterwards. So back to the conversation, she would actually look to you and say, "So, will I be seeing the gentleman at the library tomorrow?"
What do you think? I mean, probably not. Honestly, we at least not yet. We might come back another day, but.
So in game, I imagine that Galen kind of gives like a look over to Viggo, which would be Bandit looking over to Magpie. Almost like, "Hey, boss," kind of like a look. So Magpie.
We do have to. Yeah, sorry, my internet was jumping while you were talking. Yeah, so he would say we do need to return. Hopefully, I will see you there again. I don't know whether we'll be there tomorrow, but we will be back.
She nods and says, "I also have other things I'm going to be looking into as well. So I was curious because you had said that you had found a plan of the city. So I was hoping you'd be able to help me navigate that. I might be there tomorrow, but similarly, I might be there a different day as I have other bits to look into to, put my story together."
I'll look out for
out of interest. I can probably give her a general area of the where we found plans. She doesn't need to know it's the exact plans we found, but like an area that she might be able to look for plans, right?
Remember when you took that copy of To Be a Blah Blah Blah
No,
by blah blah
not
blah?
like that.
Yeah, if you actually
Generally,
drop your
libraries
hands
are actually
down
sorted,
2 rows
Scott.
and to the left by
Generally,
a couple
there
of
is a
meters.
sorting system where you can figure out where stuff is. Fuck you.
You're talking about like a Dewey Decimal, isn't that what it's called? Dewey Decimal system that you use for sorting. The problem is when you deal with old libraries, actually, if I remember correctly, it's actually a problem in like London, is that you'll have, as like the different rulers changed over the years, the system of organization also changed, so it doesn't fully function correctly.
That's sort of
So-
what I meant by I can give a general area, like say
Yeah.
second floor, a couple along, or like that sort of thing.
Yeah, on the first floor by where you were, where the sign says sewer plans. Come on, dude. Jesus, just read.
I basically just want, because I just want to give her a general area, not so she finds what we were looking at, but so she knows that, like, you know, there's plans there, because she could be useful in the future, is what Galen is thinking.
Yeah, she has a lot of information.
Exactly.
Which is also sus, a little sus, but
A little bit, but I don't need to tell her what we were looking at. Just lead her.
I
over the way
wonder,
that-
she's either a little sus or she's not letting on how important she is, whether she's some sort of noble who's come out
yeah,
here.
that's a good
She's
point,
come
yeah.
out here because it's an interesting part of history, but she doesn't want to let everyone know quite how important she is, so that she can observe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get anything.
You know what's gonna happen?
nefarious from her.
I
is
just
what
realized
pick.
what's gonna happen is we don't know who she is, and then when fucking coronation comes, it'll be her. And we'll be like,
That would be great.
That would be.
Oh,
That'd
yeah, he
be.
froze when he did that face. He actually froze for like an extra second and a half, so he got like a solid. That funny face he made look hell for us. That was awesome. But then Jake,
yeah,
give
no,
me
I
something
don't
there
get
like,
anything
"Shit, I should have picked up that tab. Like, I could have been a something, you know? I could have been a contender.
all right, all right. Well, let's call it a night and link back up with Bluey.
Yep.
So you guys are kind of like go your separate ways and whatnot. Of course, everybody pays for their own bill, and by that I mean Tess, you don't have to pay a penny. And you guys go your separate ways, and she says, "Hopefully, I'll be seeing you around. It's a big city, but getting smaller." And she says, kind of like looking at the fact that the bar is like so crowded now, you can't see the door, and you're like, "Okay, let's start getting out of here." But you know it's gonna take several minutes just to walk like a
Yeah, it's
dozen
the
meters.
awkward, like, oh, I just gotta excuse.
Yeah. Let's make your way through. Either way, so you eventually are able to kind of get back to what you call it. I imagine the conversations Holmes like, you don't think anybody in there had COVID, did you? Like, no. You got the vaccination,
Viggo-
right?
Viggo
Yeah, of course I
was,
did. Because like I got Pfizer, I got J&J. You're in a different room, right? So sorry, Viggo, what?
Oh, I was just to say, Viggo would say to Galen, hope she's not gonna be the new prince.
That would be a turn of events. And he would sort of
Yes, it
chuckle. Yeah, stuff to think about it though. She had a good amount of information.
She did. She knew a lot. All right, well, let's call it a night and see what Louis doing.
Indeed.
So you guys go back there, and Bluey is not at the place, just like he wasn't there earlier. It's one of those things where after you go back in, you settle in, you know, you kind of like a good 10 minutes pass or so,
shit.
where one of you like swings by the other room, like, have you seen Bluey? No, I haven't. Like, where the hell is he? And that's when you hear him like, you know, spouting out, walking down the streets. I'm like, I don't know. What are they
dear.
Sailor tunes called? You know? What are they called?
You're
He's an
thinking
S.
of sea shanty.
Yeah, you go, shanty.
Shanty.
There you go. He's like bellowing out a shanty in the streets. You hear like a cat like knock over a bottle and Someone's like, shut up. See, you know, Bill walking down so Bluey comes returning.
Well, I'd say everyone's in a state where we should just get some rest and decide what
Just
we're doing. tomorrow.
direct him to his room.
Yeah.
So
Talk in the morning.
So you guys don't want to talk to Bluey?
If he's that drunk.
Bluey's being steered to his room, and we'll.
Oh, he's coherent.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Ish.
Eventful day.
You don't want to talk to him in the morning. He might forget details when he wakes up hungover. Like when you're drunk, it's
Really?
still fresh. So,
Apparently, some of the people here think that a mage is going to be controlling the new Yoven here. Quanon. It's going to take place. They're not sure when. Outside the front of the palace, and they're considering knocking down a couple of the surrounding buildings. Big ones, old ones, stone ones.
Interesting. It's quite a change for a single event.
Wonder if those buildings pose any risk, or they'd be knocking
Or
them
if there's a
down.
reason why that location is exactly where they want to do it.
Maybe there's a way in to the sewers.
That is something to check.
you verified with the maps before. There is not, so at least not one that's been mapped. Continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant when I said it's something to check. One that may not have been mapped. Interesting. Well done.
And I was thinking, where's them's buildings for? Because if they're by the palace, they've got to be posh. Who live there? Can you really
That's a
just
good point.
destroy a building with posh people in?
Even if those people are getting paid, I imagine they're none too happy about it.
And happy people, not happy people, talkative people.
Indeed. Well, that's another one on the list of leads. We have a couple things
Definitely
to check out.
We should definitely check that out tomorrow.
Indeed.
Well, Viggo will clap you on the back. Sounds like you had a productive day. Learned a
Hard
lot.
work, boss. Hard work.
Galen will chuckle as he sort of like turns around to go to his room.
Viggo gives a
If
smile.
Galen
I
had
hope you're
done
ready
it-
for some more tomorrow.
Of course, if Galen had done it, he'd be dead. Given out.
Galen would laugh extra hard as he walks down the hallway. Fair enough. Fair call.
As Galen walks off, Viggo goes to walk through his room and he looks back at you. He goes, one more?
What?
He froze at the best time. I mean, he froze up.
Just said,
Am I back?
what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
you've
you're
been
back.
When you freeze,
It was just a
Okay.
quick freeze.
It's
yeah.
video only and for like a second and a half. So you're good, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You're good. Viggo goes, one more drink?
Just one.
Uh-oh. Gal's going to wake up to two very drunk people.
Galen's gonna be
Viggo
the only
does
one
drink.
waking up.
It's okay. He'll use the extra time in the morning to go to do his rounds to the sewer entrance and back.
Yeah, so Viggo will have some drinks and then he'll go to bed.
So you are going to, like you said, have a couple of drinks. The two of you kind of like laugh and joke or whatever it is. You have to go to like a local pub because it's not like it's here at the inn, right? Unless you brought your own alcohol.
I'll just get some water and turn it into.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You cry into a cup. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You just remember how your parents don't love you. And you're good to go. Yeah.
I remember that they're dead.
They're, sorry, what was that?
My parents are dead. Remember?
Are you sure?
Not anymore.
Did I just hear Tesh laughing like a back? You hear that reverb of Tesh laughing?
I did, yeah.
That was awesome. That was so funny. Anyways, so you guys are wake up in the morning. Tesh is the one that wakes up early, goes and does this thing, and the next morning you guys wake up. I imagine, Jake, your character gets drunk, but not to the point where it's like an actual issue. Whereas Neil's character, I need a fortitude save from. Actually, I need 2, I should say. 2 fortitude saves.
2? No.
Day drinking, we know you don't compensate with water.
That's 1. That's 2.
I assume you feel confident.
Yeah.
So you wake up hungover the next day, but nothing that's actually negatively impacting your ability to be you. Just kind of like RP hungover, nothing else. So, and you wake up a little bit later than them, but nothing obnoxious or crazy. So the next morning, you guys are able to get up and kind of start going about what it is that you're doing this day. It sounds like you're not going back to the library. Therefore, Neil can join you. What do you want to do?
Yay! Fuck books.
We should go
We
look
should
around.
go check out those buildings.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That area and see what how if that area is guarded, if they're actively demolishing.
I'm interested what those buildings actually are.
Yeah.
Because what's the purpose of demolishing that? Like, sure, if you want more space for viewing, possibly. But otherwise, I feel like there's probably some ulterior motive going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out is I've got a couple of things in my head about why. Because the other thing is, if they're for me, why go through the effort of demolishing buildings if there's like a different area they could have done it? So why this area exactly? Do they want to make a statement with it being near the house?
So him walking back into the house clearly signifies that it is safe, right? So they're clearly keen to do that with the new Yoban here.
If that is the reason, yeah, that would.
But
fill
they could easily hold the ceremony elsewhere and have him ceremonially procession back into the house. Which actually, if you were paying attention, which Triss definitely is not paying enough attention, but suggests that maybe they aren't sure about the security, that they don't want to procession through the city.
If everyone else thinks they stayed in the city, then. Yeah, that would be much more of a risk. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. I also would like to... you know what? I have a mission I would like to go on today. I would like to go find Jen Mullis. Or if I can find, because this is where Jen Mullis operates out of, isn't it?
It is. Usually,
are we going to put down some bad psychers? Should I prep my flamer?
She would have information on stuff. I also want to visit her about other stuff, but she would have information, and I would like to find out. I'll talk to her when I do that. But that's what I would like to do today. So I guess I'm the one breaking away.
That's perfectly fine. Of course. Just one thing real quick, Neil. Can you sit up so we can see the bottom of your shirt where it says the words? I think it's funny because it says "That's how I roll," but the T looks like a C, so it looks like "Chat's how I roll." Yeah. So it just tickled my pickle a little. So I just like that. So
I read it as "Chat's how I roll" first.
Yeah.
Chat is actually partially how I roll occasionally.
Yeah.
Thanks, Norway, for that too, by the way, bud.
So anyways, you guys are kind of splitting off. So who wants to go first? Well, Neil rolled a 90-20, so I guess he gets to go first. You're going with Jake, right?
Yep.
Okay, and where are you guys heading off to? To the prince's home?
Yeah, to figure out what those buildings are.
Sure. So, well, you guys go heading off in that direction. It's pretty easy to find it. Obviously, there's no checks or anything. So you go making your way over there. Oh, you can actually see there's already a crowd over in the area for something else that's happening today, as it is. Would you want to try to push your way through the crowd, which take time and patience and aggression and so on and so forth, or would you want to like turn invisible and fly over? Like, how do you guys want to be able to see ahead of the crowd to see what the hell's going on, or do you just want us hanging back and trust somebody else's reporting from telephone?
Triss will push his way through for baby Viggo.
Obviously, you don't have Carrick with you because
Yeah.
So you're gonna push your way through. It's gonna be kind of
I mean,
a
the first thing we should do is probably be like, what is this event? You just ask somebody what it is first before we start.
I
pushing
don't know,
through.
mate. People have started gathering over here.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
It looks like
This is why he's the brains of the information. I was ready to get clobbering, you know. I pulled out the baby seal club, but the boss says we have to ask, why are the baby seals here?
Well, the guy doesn't know, so start clubbing, buddy.
I asked one person of several thousand. Get to it. So anyways, you start making your way through. To make your way up there, honestly, it's intimidation. It's kind of like shove your way through the area. Jake, for you, it's sleight of hand to grab a nice firm hold of Tristan and stay with it. No, I'm just kidding. You're going to go ahead and make me a what's it called? Reflex save. DC for you is simply an 8 to be able to stay in tow behind him. We've all pushed through crowds with multiple people before.
Oh,
It ain't
God.
easy.
Yeah.
When Tristan finally gets to the front, somehow you're already there. No.
That's our teamwork feat. It's called perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Right.
That was fantastic, actually.
Hack-a-pick means
All right,
hack-a-pick.
so,
I'm googling this.
Either way, so you go ahead and make your way to
Oh
the front.
God, they're horrific.
What?
Hack-a-pick. I take it
What?
back. No one should club a baby seal.
I mean, they shouldn't anyways.
Yeah, but they needed to at one point to survive, sure. But like, I resent myself, and I take back my meme about clubbing of baby seals. They're too adorable to be subjected to that implement.
I didn't realize that implement was exclusively for that, so it involved pictures of that rather than just pictures of the implement. I have regrets.
Yep. Well, Norway taught me.
Do not Google that.
I'm a little bit more lawful good now.
Yeah, I at first it says seeing a whole bunch of pictures of the weapon and people like kind of holding them up.
Yeah,
and then I see
it
them
cuts to
at
yeah,
yeah.
Goddamn, fucking no.
I say we arm the baby seals with
Just
clubs,
remember,
yes.
it is perfectly natural for animals to kill animals. Humans are animals, so that's what I'm going to tell myself. It's like watching a lion chase a gazelle.
It's a baby seal.
Ah.
I mean, those are full-size seals, to be clear, but that's fine. If they weren't small, they were big. Unless they pop out that big. You know? If a seal's born the size of Neil, okay, maybe we do, you know, like, you know.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. So anyways,
What's this event?
I prefer the bunk meme. We'll go back to that.
So when you guys are there, one of the things you notice right off the bat is that in front of the prince's home, like over by where those buildings are that were in question, a large wagon has pulled up. Now, this isn't just like any big wagon. The actual back of the wagon is very, very long. It is a very long flatbed back there. So you actually have a team of 6 oxen or bull or whatever pulling each of the 2 wagons that are here to draw whatever heavy thing is in back up to this area. The wagon is, of course, covered, so you can't see what's inside of it. But there's something inside they pulled up 2 of that happens to be here. At the same time that you see that, you can look about and you can see that there's a good number of people that are walking around and having conversations in front of the actual buildings. The characters are just standing there being patient for a little bit. But go ahead and roll me perception checks. Snapped my knee and then my hamstring tightened. Oof.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Look at
god.
us. We're
Perfectly balanced
It's the-
as all things should be.
It's the opposite. It's the friggin' opposite of last week.
It's jail, baby. All right, jail.
Jail. Yeah, like, I just love this idea. Like, we fuse to beat the enemy, and like the enemy's like, "Who are you?" And we're like, "We're jail," and they're like, "What? That's a stupid name." And we don't reply, and we just throw a bar of soap on the floor, and they're like, "What?" And you're like, "You dropped this," and they're like, "What?" And then the fight scene begins.
Toxic masculinity again.
Yeah.
I love that we could take Josh. Oh, you know what I mean? So anyways, was it take Josh to jail? What is Neil and Tesh?
Neil and Tesh.
Oh, take Josh to Teal jail. Right? Is that all the combos?
Yeah, but you know what? You know what we are, Scott, together.
Steel?
Oh god, I'm sorry, I'm derailing us here. Let's carry on.
All right. So, anyways, that's right. That's what the soap is for, Norway. That's what the soap is for. So you guys are sitting there and you're watching with disgustingly high checks there. It's actually Viggo who gets much better view than Tristan because you guys are wimps. I should stop gaslighting on that one because I actually don't like crit successes and failures. So I just gaslight for fun. So
Yeah. If
joke
you
is
continue this, we're gonna go to rolled stats in the next game. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So it's actually Viggo. So both of you guys are able to see that people are coming in and out of the building, and both of you guys are able to see that at one point in time, it's not just. Oh, I should probably design that thing I talked about forever ago. It's not just military and people that are dressed well that clearly come off as maybe like city workers or whatever it is, like higher ups, right? Coming in and out of the place. You also see a couple of gnomes walking out as well.
This is a magical contraption. That's what these wagons are. They're magical contraptions for the swift destruction and demolition of buildings.
A couple of gnomes coming out as well that happen to be here having conversation. Unfortunately, not able to make out the conversation because there's way too much murmur of the crowd and they're too far away for you to make out at all what they're saying and what they're conversing. But you can definitely see that they're there and somebody else has been, people are taking various measurements and kind of like calling them to each other and writing them down and whatnot, and eventually coming over and reporting it to the gnomes and the other people that are there. They're getting involved, and one of them kind of walks off and checks the sun and everything, and they kind of looking at that stuff. That's what they see. Jake, however, what you see as one particular gust of wind happens to blow by. When one particular gust of wind happens to blow by, looking into the wagon, you just kind of like, you see like the flaps happening. Out of curiosity, you look over to the one back of the wagon because they're not set directly side by side. One's kind of like in front of the other one. The one back of the wagon that you can just barely see. As the flap kind of billows a little bit in the wind, the ties that they have holding them shut are loose enough, just that it flaps, just that the corner is able to get that, like, not just the billowing, but that corner is able to kind of get that flap back in the corner before it comes forward again. You're able to see on the other side a large stone-looking, if you had to guess, looks like the bottom of a sandal on maybe a stone foot. You think there's a giant statue that's inside there. Like, they might be erecting some sort of statues here, is what you're seeing.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Yeah, so he like the crowd's noisy, but he leans into Louis and he says, "There's a statue in that car. the wagon. I think they're pulling down these buildings to erect a statue.
That's quite a statement, I guess.
It
What's
is.
the statue up?
I don't know. I only see the sandaled foot. Was the previous Jovan here known for wearing a sandal? He raises an eyebrow.
I love that.
It
I
gives
knew
you
that's
like
where you
a
were going.
it gives you like a funny look, and he's like, I don't know what the footwear preferences of any of the upper military.
Viggo laughs.
It's not my maybe Gallon.
Does he make the joke? Here's a bit of a bootlick, eh?
All jokes aside, though, I wonder if it is to the previous or to the new.
Either way, it's a statement, I guess. If we could find out what who it's of, we could find out who the person is.
Yeah, well, they're keeping it
What about that person
at the moment.
you said you thought might be the oven here? Was she wearing sandals?
Was she wearing sandals, John?
The previous oven here, or the person that you were talking to last night?
The
The
rando.
person I was talking to last night.
No, she was not wearing sandals. I mean, sandals
No,
in a
she
place
wasn't.
like that,
Which
that'd be
is-
miserable.
which
That,
is-
that crowded,
yeah,
get
I
your
mean-
foot stepped on. Ow.
That's
Oh,
exactly
wow,
the
yeah.
move that the new Yovan here would make, though. Like-
Yeah.
Everyone knows I wear sandals. I'm putting my red ruby slippers on.
I wonder if there is any sandal sellers that are gearing up to sell lots of sandals.
What, you think it's going to start a fashion?
I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking.
And you thinking we should go to a sandal seller?
Yep.
Oh my god, this is the best lead that's ever been followed ever. I love this.
Because they were they will somehow know the new
This is what happens when I leave them to their own devices.
I just can't believe you just said that. Oh my
CSI Aurorum. Enhanced.
And you think they'll know who the new Yovan here is because of sandals?
It'll
I love this so much.
This man went to university.
I can't wait. I can't wait until Jake just like hangs out with one of his buddies tomorrow. The next day, they're wearing sandals like way too early of spring, and he just like starts laughing.
Okay.
if not, we could buy a bear.
Look, I'm gonna reveal something.
Not a trip totally wasted.
This is what I wear year round.
Oh yeah, there we go. New Yovan here sighted. But what if you're able to get into the car? You can, do the thing where you disappear.
These gnomes got Arcane Congress stuff on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're wearing the robes.
You see those two gnomes there?
Yeah.
They're members of the Arcane Congress. If I were to turn invisible and they were able to see me, then we'd be in a lot of trouble.
I really think the arcane stonemasons are going to be able to see you. That's it. He's done.
Trying to recover.
That's what he needs the sandals for. So that when they see him invisible, they're like, "Ooh, it's the sandals."
That's the new gun here. No, I don't think it would be the best. You'd probably be arrested, or at least I would. I wouldn't mind finding out what those buildings are that they're demolishing either way.
Yeah. Is there any physical tells outside these buildings as to their purpose?
So these are actually very, very nice looking buildings that you can tell. One of them actually looks to be what's the word I'm looking for? One of them looks to be the Jake. If you roll me an architecture and engineering check. Yeah, so you're 27 because you obviously have some time to look it over as you're contemplating it. Do you want to modify that, or are you happy with 27?
What sort of shoes does the building have?
Well, you're supposed to say footings. Oh, you missed the opportunity. So
I'm a bit strapped for information.
So
I'm sorry.
Oh, that bastard Hindle deserves.
This is what happens when we don't have a session in a long time.
So back to the game. You guys are so what you're able to tell looking at the buildings is one of the buildings looks like it's supposed to come off as being like a typical residential, but it has all the telltale signs, Jake, that you can tell, the reinforcements and whatnot that suggest this is actually a military place. It's actually where you're going to have various guards or military personnel, whatever is going to be stationed there. Because the way that it works in Paradel government structure is you have the princes, which are voted into place or selected into place or whatever it is based off the province. Every prince hand selects their MOW, their Master of War. That is not a position that is voted into or anything like that. It is a position, it's like an appointed cabinet member, right? And so when you actually look at the structure of Paradel, the Trumba are number one. They are the most powerful individuals, there's three of them, maybe equal power, in all of Paradel. And then every one of the 9 provinces has the prince. And the prince is the most powerful individual of any particular province. But then immediately beneath the prince is the Master of War. It is the second most powerful person of a province, right? And that person is not selected at all with the opinions of the people involved. That is a hand-selected person. So that position can be a revolving door. Sometimes they'll survive many princes, whatever the case may be. But they're always right there on hand, or at the very least their offices are, because they have such incredible control of the military in that area, because Paradel is a militaristic society, even if it tries not to be that way, except at the borders. It's a very militaristic society. They're always right there. Their offices, at the very least, are always right there. So one of the buildings are specifically that where the Master of War lives. Their offices, where they'll constantly have extra guard on duty in case it's needed for either the Master of War or the Prince. And these are going to be hand-selected people. More importantly, this is going to be places where Galen personally wouldn't notice this, wouldn't know this, but because he wasn't a part of it. But the Yavin here's personal, what are they called? Like guard? That's where they would be. That's where Galen's allies would have been stationed. The other one, however, is actually a building that would belong to anybody that was being kept in the area of additional, what is the word I'm looking for? Guests of the Yavin here, the Master of War. That's going to be a home that they would be staying at. So the Yavin here, Master of War, would actually have this other home for them. We had talked about in a different campaign that there is where other delegates or emissaries or whatever from other countries or provinces or whatever, where they would stay. I was about a mile away from here. But this is exactly where guests, personal guests, like family members of, would be staying at this other building. So these aren't buildings that you'd have to worry about getting approval from anybody else or worry about displacing anybody else. They belong directly to the Yavin here's control, with no Yavin here. Whoever the Trumbar is would be able to, or if you look at the 3 people who run the city otherwise, would have complete control over these until a new Yavin here takes place, right? So whoever's giving authority, you don't know. But that's what the significance of these 2 buildings are. So yes, Neil, to answer your question, they are quite posh. They're maintained very well. Both of them look very, very similar to one another, maintained very similar. It's actually Jake's keen eye, Viggo's keen eye, that can see that it's actually a militaristic one over here. And then just kind of like knowing the significance, what most likely that one over there is as well. As for entrances into sewers, without going in there to check it out, you wouldn't have a single frigging clue. Okay? So anyways, at one point, I don't know how long your characters want to stay here and watch all this. It took you a good almost an hour just to push yourself forward, and you've been watching for about an hour at this point, trying to gather the information while waiting for people to even come outside and then watch what they're doing, the gust of wind. How much longer would your characters want to stay here?
Tris would lean like after we discerned the purpose of the buildings, right? So Master of War's house and guest house for Tarumba, Prince / Master of War.
Correct. Yep.
So high ranking, which is kind of sus that they're destroying both. It suggests to me that the Master of War is no longer held in good stead.
That whoever that Master of War would still hold that position until a new Tarumbar elects them otherwise. Because the MOW becomes like the de facto leader unless a Tarumbar steps in until a new one is put into place.
But they're destroying their own house then.
Well, that might be a hint that it's not them doing it. Or maybe that's a hint that...
which probably means that it's come directly from the Tarumbar.
Very possible.
Do you want to try and have a look inside them houses?
If we can manage it. Seems like quite the crowd around now. Won't be able to go in.
Well, they're all busy looking over there, aren't they? We have a little sipple of your sneaky drink and we can have a quick look around, potentially.
Sneaky drink.
It's up to you, Magpie.
I think it would be better if we came back when the gnomes weren't here. Yeah, you don't want to be taken prisoner by the Arcane Congress.
Let's pray that the buildings are still here then.
So there are gnome. I assume gnomes from the Arcane Congress here, right?
There are.
And you saw a sandaled foot of a statue. What if those are what they're using to demolish the buildings?
I think Norway joked about that earlier.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, would your character stay much longer?
What are they doing?
Continuing to have conversations. You can imagine there's a lot of planning that goes about destroying 2 buildings if that's in fact what they're doing. And certainly if you're going to hoist up massive friggin' stone statues like these, like a lot of times statues like that are either going to be constructed in pieces and reapplied elsewhere, right? But being stone's usually hewn from one individual slab, not transported. You know what I mean? Like a giant stone statue, it's structured to be withstand weight and time this way, not this way, right? So,
yeah. How many people are around the houses?
Oh, thousands.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to go in now.
There's tons of people around you, and in front of the actual
Yeah.
people working, easily 100 inside the big cleared out area.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
as your characters are standing there, because you're probably not going to stay here for the entirety of the day, you probably stay here for a few hours and then leave. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, one of the things you notice that at some point in time, they start actually from one of the back areas, not the area where you guys happen to be standing, which is like almost like you guys are standing between the buildings. From one of the other roadways, you actually start to see a couple of cavalry coming in, and then when I say couple, like 2 or 3 dozen cavalry coming in. A little bit of time passes, and you see more and more, and you actually see a good number of Perrin soldiers arriving. But Jake, as somebody who's very trained in the military, and same thing with you, Neil, you guys realize these aren't just any soldiers. These cavalry that are there have like their full armor and arms and all that stuff on them. But the soldiers, the footmen that arrive, these aren't just any footmen. These are phalanx soldiers. They've got the big ass shields that are set on them, so on and so forth. Both of you guys can roll a knowledge history for the significance of this, beyond speculating, of course, as PCs.
I'm not trained in knowledge history. I am trained in knowledge nobility. Is this like a favored troop choice of any of the Perrin?
It's
princes?
more of a tactics thing.
I mean, I know what a phalanx is. Yeah.
Feel free to clicky.
I'm not gonna roll. I'm not trained in knowledge history.
Oh, that's
I'm
fine.
not
That's
gonna
fine. My
roll.
apologies. You're not trained. So, Jake, you would know in a situation like this where it's a non-combative scenario, this is most likely to push the line. Most likely, all these people that are here watching this, including yourself being in the front line, you're about to have a moment where we have the Australian media getting bashed in the face with a shield by American military. What is it? Park rangers. Just so we can take a picture with an upside down Bible. So you notice that there is about to be a moment where the line is pushed back, and
Time to go.
it's going to be happening kind of soon.
Yeah. He would immediately turn and say, Louis, time to leave.
I guess we push our way back out then.
As is the case with every movie you've ever watched where there's a major event happening. I don't know, watch Ragnarok or something. Not Ragnarok, what's the one before that one? Dark Matter or whatever it's called. Whenever there's a major event where something bad happens or there's like a clear brewing of bad happens, people gather up and like...
One of my favorite quotes from Doctor Who is the end comes as it always was going to, down the lens of a camera phone.
But yeah, so as you guys push out, others are pushing up. Guards, what's happening next? This is so exciting. Whew, writing on the walls, guys. Anyways, you guys got to push your way back out of there. Go ahead with that intimidate/reflex save again.
Uh-oh. Less intimidating this time.
He's also going the opposite direction, but he's welcome to.
Oh, no.
He's welcome to luck it if he likes.
Yeah, I'll like that one. I don't want to get caught in a crush.
Jake, you happy with your 10? Honestly, it's not that hard. It's not that-
DC 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to
not hard.
follow, it's not as hard.
So
as to lead.
you guys make a relatively easy way, or I should say a pretty easy way out. The hard part is getting between the people, but people are more than happy to let someone in the front get so they can go up there. And you notice that not many people are moving away. I mean, Jake read the writing on the walls because he's quite literate. Tristan, however, as we predetermined, didn't get a library pass. So eventually you guys make your way out of the crowded area as others crowd in. You were good cleaned out the back side of the way because it takes a while to leave, but that kind of like staging to push forward with the guards, that's not something that you just like line them up, push them back. It actually takes time to line them up, get them into position, give them their orders, get things prepared. It actually takes a couple of hours for them to do. But eventually, they do get things pushed, and later on, you guys will hear about the push of the guards. Like literally what ends up happening is you have what are they called? The cavalry will ride forward and make everybody kind of like stumble backwards and trip over themselves. And then the guardsmen kind of go up and place a area with the shields. And then there'll be a time where like the shields kind of open up and the horses ride past again. And people are set in a panic and running backwards. Now, generally speaking, Paradel doesn't treat their people poorly. And so they're not swinging their weapons, or at least there are very few scenarios where they're swinging their cudgels and whatnot at the actual people that are there. It's very infrequent, though of course it does happen as, you know, somebody gets a little bit overzealous or whatever it might be, but that's not the order that they're given, right? And this goes on for a period of time as it takes time for them to push back, and eventually a new line is drawn and people kind of gather around that as well. But they push the line back pretty far back, pretty considerably far back. Eventually you find news that even the buildings that they push back behind the line, if you happen to live in those buildings or that's where you work, whatever it is, that don't matter. If you're in one of those buildings while they're doing what they do, they go into the building. They drag you out, or they ask you to leave, or command you to leave. And if you don't listen, they drag you out and they push you past the line. So it's one of those things where they completely vacate the area, pushing it back considerably.
Interesting.
Probably setting up not only like whatever they're setting up, but like I'm guessing there'll be magical protection for the event.
They're setting up a perimeter. Because that's more than just making room. If you're pulling people out of buildings, that is making sure that you can control a perimeter.
And Tesh, what does your character do in this whole while before we have you guys reunite? Which we'll probably have to have you reunite next week because of, you know, timing.
Yeah, I'm looking for Jen Mullis.
Oh, that's pretty easy for you to do. You go to her offices, which are not by the prince, to be clear.
Yeah.
Even if, as in the meta, we talked about her people being stationed there, she would not be stationed there at all. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just as a note, I would be removing a bunch of like the extra weapons. I would deliberately be removing like weapons and armor just to go in casually, just to be as a difference to being the bodyguard, since I'm actually going to be going in as me, since that's the only way I'm getting in there.
No problem. When you go in, there's only one person in there, somebody that you personally know well, because they're a secretary to Jen Mullis. And when you come walking in, like you get, what's the password? You say it, and they're like, oh, that one's a bit dated. And they're like, who is that? And then when they kind of like recognize who you are, they're like, oh, you know, come in, so on and so forth. You actually recognize the secretary as somebody that has worked under Jen Mullis for a period of time. And like, Callan, I haven't seen you in a considerable amount of time. How's things going for you in Dween? And why the hell are you here?
Things are going well. And I want to talk to Jen Mullis about a couple things.
You're going to be hard pressed for that one. She's in Osto.
That does prove a problem. Well, I suppose I'd be able to talk to them. How much do I know about the secretary? Would they know at least some of the things going on that I could talk to them about?
Yep.
Yeah. In that case, I'll talk to you about it. There's a couple of things I want to look into and get information for. I'm drawn here the same thing that's drawn everyone here. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm telling you why I'm here, but you also know that I'm serving and can't say exactly.
he simply says, well, truth be told, I'm in the dark, as was Jen Mullis before she left to go handle matters in Osto. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why she left was because the last command that she was given by the MOW was to find, apprehend, and if need be, eliminate the assassins of the Yavanir. They are well under their duties, and Jen Mullis is doing her own tasks as well as, you know, everything she kind of works on and handling her own bit of the research, I suppose. But we know nothing of what's going on with the new prince, and even whether or not that we would be at all involved.
That's fine. I'm mostly looking into similar things. Specifically,
he nods. He says, you know, things are pretty hush right now. Things are so hush. Like, you remember the MOW. Well, I suppose you weren't really a part of it. Things you kind of branched off before then. We have a pretty good relationship with him. things tend to be pretty communicative, both on and off the books. Everything is so hush. I don't think it's him calling the shots. And he kind of gives you a little wink. Like if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Interesting. Thank you. Another question. I need the location of where where Goffon got injured fighting one of the assassins.
Oh, we have a full report of that.
Perfect. And lastly, I've been looking into. I would like to see if the actually, I'm going to pull out the cognizance crystal. Looking to if I can obtain more things like this, or would they actually be called power gems or power stones?
Power stones, yeah. Oh, or mind
I'm looking
stones.
to-
Mind stones.
Mind stones. I'm looking into trying to combine, experiment with mind stones in my suit. I have an idea of what I might be able to do with them.
I have the authority to let you rummage through and see if there's anything that catches your interest, and whatnot, but not for just anything. For most things inside there, you know that you can't just take them off. You can't just what's the word I'm looking for? Requisition them. You're going to have to pay for them.
I understand. That's mainly what I came to find out. Cost, which ones I may want to be interested in, stuff like that.
Nods and says, we'll gladly go through that. And unfortunately, I can't give you a discount as we don't know how much more backing we're going to be receiving by the prince.
That's understandable. I won't need many, likely only one or two. So I'm not looking to spend too much. I understand the need to keep them just in case and all of that. And thank you for that information. It'll help.
In that case, if you have the spare coin, I know that Gaffon made an auto stone. He very keenly remembered that moment because of how painful it was. So he did make an auto stone. Every time you use it, causes a fissure to press through it. But if you wanted to take a glance, you can see his memory, and you can see who it was that attacked him and where.
Ooh,
That sounds useful.
that does sound very useful. So to out of character because my brain is mush because 1:30 a.m. Are they saying I can buy that auto stone? Because he mentioned
No,
coin
you
before.
use it once.
I'll use it once. Okay.
Yeah, because it's for their own record keeping.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Actually, I could make sure I memorize their face and look into maybe some details that were missed. Maybe there are some insights I might have.
Absolutely. I'll be more than happy to let you rummage through here and see what we can make an agreement on. I wish I could be more aid to you, Galen, but unfortunately, again, we've been kept in the dark, and with everyone gone from the office except for myself for a period of time, things are going to stay dark for a little while.
I understand. This is more than I was expecting, so thank you.
Nods and will kind of present the key that goes over and unlocks the door for you to start rummaging through for you as a PC to come up with a list of things you want to shop for. But it is 10:56 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. I have 34 minutes to get ready for work and head out the door, and I still got a shower. So I'm gonna do an outro nice and quick. Anybody, Tesh or anybody else Tesh first? Want to go?
Hi, I'm Tesh of the Test Tube. You can find me under that name on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow my Twitter to keep up to date on all the things I'm doing, and hopefully the new scheduled plan that I'm planning to do for streaming to make things easier with regards to both mental and physical health. And Twitch, if you want to watch, there's a list of Destiny, Warframe, Monster Hunter, hopefully soon Metroid Dread. I really want to play that game. And New World. and all of that, those sorts of games.
Poggers.
Poggers. And I do want to say that next week, this upcoming weekend, I'm leaving to go. So tomorrow's my mother's birthday, and then this weekend I'm going to Maine. So there won't be a Monday night session. I'm 92% sure I'm coming back Tuesday night, which is my wife's birthday. And even though Wednesday is my anniversary, it's only the 9-year anniversary. It's not anything special. So a 9-year marriage anniversary. Obviously, we've been together longer than that. So I'm pretty sure I'm still streaming and working and everything the way I usually do.
Yeah, Chloe and I had our 9-year anniversary and we missed it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is our anniversary, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's just 9-year marriage anniversary. It's not it's the next year that's like the
It's not really very impressive at your age, though, is it? You know.
Well, not 9 years. No, it's usually by 10 years that people start getting divorced. Like we're actually at the age where we're like, so there's a gap of time where there's like a 15-year gap of time where all of your friends and all of your significant others' friends and like family members and whatnot start getting married. So it's a 15-year gap where you go through to a ton of weddings. Like I'm going to a wedding in January 1st for my little
Now you're
brother.
going to start going to some.
But there's a 15
divorces.
years of divorces. Yeah, exactly. And then after the 15 years of divorces, then it's the 15 years of deaths until you die. So it's like this 45-year
God.
cycle. Once you get to 20,
That's dark, man.
it's the way it works. Once you get to 20, there's 15 years of marriages, 15 years of divorces, 15 years of deaths. That's just how it goes. And then you're 65 and you're just sitting there waiting for your turn. You know, like that's how it works. So yeah. But you know, that's the cycle of it's a circle of life. All right, I'm gonna try to find the someone to raid. Any Czech channels? No, okay. Nobody I follow is streaming. Can we give me somebody,
have a
Tesh?
quick look, see.
So I can bounce out of here.
I'm glad I could make it for a little bit this week, even if all
I
I
don't
did
have
was
anyone,
derail you all horribly.
Unfortunately, I need to.
That's fine. We don't have to
I
raid
know
anybody.
I follow a bunch
Guys,
of
I
people
will be
Twitter
on
that would
in
be-
Discord, which you're going to toss the link in there. I will be in general chat in about half an hour or so. I will be trying to be talkative, but if y'all want to carry the conversation with me responding to things as opposed to being the chatty one, that'll help my throat a little bit.
That'll give you a -10 to your diplomacy, though, Scott.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with just help my throat because I do have the stream tonight on Lost Initiative. So
I just want to ask, what sort of it's with the power zones? Is there any limitations on what ones I can look up? I haven't gone to look at them, so I don't know if there's like any like rarities or anything.
absolutely. So the big thing to note is that you want to look at the list of psionic warrior ones as opposed to scion ones, because there are no true scions in your group, right? So that also makes them
that's
slightly
fine.
more expensive too, for the most part, which is an important feature because they're
Well,
pretty rare.
to know the way that I use them is I won't actually be using a psionic use device. It's I load it into the suit, and until I swap it out, it's an ability I have.
I understand, but it's also a limitation to what you have access to, right?
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But toss a list of things that you want, and then I will respond to those in our secret chat. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you again. Thank you. See you tonight, 9 p.m. EST, Lost Initiative.